All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Ladies Night. It's Moff and Spencer. We got Rich in the house tonight as well. He's in the British Virgin Islands, but he'll be chipping in and chopping it up when some things come to our attention. So we got some brand new ladies this week. Welcome, ladies. Let's do a quick round of introductions. Before we do that, guys, just as a reminder, the chat is open to members. It's 99 cents a month if you want to join and participate in the chat. If you want to ask the ladies a question or make a comment that you want to be read on screen, send in a super chat, $20 and up. We'll read it immediately. Anything below $20 USD, we'll save it to the end. And Spencer and Rich and I will go through that. So let's just go a quick round of intros. Kayla, let's start with you. It's your name, your age, where you're from, what you do, your current relationship status, and then we'll move on to the next. So take us away.
Yeah, my name's Kayla. I'm 28. I'm from Georgia, and I am married. I'm an esthetician apprentice and spa coordinator.
Okay, good stuff. Shay, what about you?
My name is Shay, aka Savvy Pickle, is what my Instagram is, and I am from Arizona. I'm 37, and I am single, but I was recently married, so I just went through a divorce, unfortunately, in November. So,
Wow. How long were you guys married?
we were married 2 years, but we were together 6.
Okay. All right, let's go to Angie.
Hi, I'm Angie. I'm 34, and I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend.
Gotcha. And you are, given your accent, I think people can guess. You're based in Australia. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah, Angie's a returning guest. It's good to have you back. Good to see you. What time is it there where you are? Is it 8?
No,
it's
it's 11 a.m. 11.
Okay, I can never get the time difference completely right. Cool. And then Ronnie, why don't you finish this off?
Hey, I'm Ronnie. I like to say I don't turn past 30 because I feel like age is a state of mind. So I am an artist in every sense of the word. Like, I love art, all kinds of art, music. I make movies. I wrote a book called The $1,000,000 Stripper Guide. I spin fire and do fire spinning, fire dancing, burlesque. I work at a strip club. And what else? Oh, I am single and I am poly. So I believe in multiple loves. But right now I would just fall more as like single.
And you said poly and bisexual, correct? So you date guys.
Oh yeah,
and
and
girls.
I'm bisexual, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, where to start? Why don't we start there? Why don't we start with your book, Ronnie, The $1,000,000 Stripper Guide? Why don't you tell us about that and what brought on you writing that and what that's about? If you can give us, a quick little synopsis.
Yeah, okay, I appreciate that. Well, I've danced in clubs all over the US from Cali to Vegas to New York and Texas, everywhere in between. And I would just go through these deep experiences and they would just teach me so much about life mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So it's a lot deeper than just what people would think on the outside looking in. So I tell a story and what I learned about that and what others can learn from it. So not just strippers who want to like better their stripper game would like the book, but men, because they get to learn like the inner like mind fuckery and the art of seduction and all of the tricks that happen at the strip club. And then just people who like a housewife who doesn't want to be a stripper, she just wants to live vicariously through me and get a peek into that world that she doesn't know about.
So it's more like an autobiography. You're kind of
It
talking
is
about your
autobiography,
experiences.
yes, but it's also like a self-help guide as well.
And self-help, but for who? Like, it seems like
It's
lot
more
of people,
tailored
like,
towards
yeah.
strippers. It's more tailored towards strippers, definitely.
And
So
for guys to go to the strip club to keep some money in
yeah,
their pocket.
yeah. So they want to learn like the inner workings of a strip club, but it's definitely from the voice of a stripper, and I speak to strippers first and foremost. Because I started basically always wanting to teach girls that would come into the strip club things that I knew about the club. And my friends were like, Ronnie, the game is to be sold, not told. And the girl would always try to use my sales pitch, but then be like, competition the next day, saying my same script standing next to me. So they were like, you should write a book. So it was my stripper friends who encouraged me to write the book. That's how I got started.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, yeah. So,
And I use my master's that I have. So I have a master's in psychology. And
interesting.
so I use a lot of psychology in there with sales in the book.
What is
Oh, I see.
your typical clientele? What do you think about the guys that come into, strip clubs and that tend to do that? What's your average kind of man?
There are all types of different men that come into the strip club. The average man that we look for to give us money is going to be socially awkward, virginal, fat, smelly, like on an oxygen tank. That's like what we want to go for.
Looks
But
like
all
he's 5
kinds
minutes
of
away
men,
from dying.
all kinds of men come to the strip club though. I've literally met like lawyers who just want to pay me $1,000 to sit around and talk about my paralegal. They come for all kinds of reasons. So there's really not a typical
But
guy.
you see a guy like that, dorky, clearly doesn't know his way around a woman. Maybe he's fat, Poindexter kind of guy.
Like,
But you see him, he's a mark to you. He's
no,
not
I don't
somebody.
say mark. I don't call him
Well, you
mark.
want him to give you, but he is. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, he's a
But
mark.
I
Like,
don't
he's a guy
call
that
him a mark.
You spot him to give you money. Yeah, but
I
he
say
is a mark. Like, you don't have to
patron.
call him. Doesn't matter.
But now I'm just telling you. Well, that's what
that's fine.
your
You don't-
word. I
yes,
say
but we know what a
patron.
mark is.
Patron of the arts.
Okay, but
Patron of the arts.
You gave your archetype of a man that you look for that you're trying to get money from.
Yes.
Right. So you've just
my
like that's what we call a
sweetheart for
mark.
the night.
Yeah. Right. So that's what we call it, a mark. So that gives you no pause whatsoever. Like that's just the game. It's like, yeah, whatever. This guy might be fat. He might be a loser. He might not get any love at home. Forget getting in the gym. Forget any of that. You say it again.
I get off on it.
On what?
But on the whole process, like the psychology behind it, that a complete stranger is programmed by society to work really hard for his money and not give it away to a complete stranger. The fact that he knows he's coming into the strip club for a fantasy. So I have no guilt in that because I'm giving him the fantasy that he's coming for. And then that within that, I could mind fuck him and then he could actually start thinking that the fantasy is real, even though all along he knew it wasn't.
I don't know if that answers my question. I mean, I guess what we're saying here, that was like, it gives you no pause whatsoever. You think you enjoy,
that's what I'm answering.
Yeah,
yes, I get off on it. Yes. And that's why. Yes.
Okay.
Is it because like in that moment that you felt like you filled that temporary need, right? Or desire for him? Like you were able to fulfill that, whatever it was, you were able to play the role, you were able to adapt, you were able to do whatever they needed and like ultimately create that scenario, create that interaction with him and like follow it to the end, right? To where he was completely happy at the end. But I think also the fact that it could be any guy that came in, like you named off several different.
They have different fantasies,
right, but you are able to create that person. No, it's not. I mean, it's not. It's a strip club. It's not going to have real emotions. It's just a temporary, almost like a high, right? You get off. It's a high. It's like knowing that
because
you could.
If the archetype of the guy you're talking about, a guy that's lonely, a guy that's overweight, a guy that's struggling, he doesn't have women around him at home. He very likely is divorced or doesn't have good success with women. He's going, so it's like
a lot of married men come in too.
Sure, but like that guy is looking for. That guy is not looking for.
Long term.
The guy's not looking for an escape. No, he's looking for something real. That guy is going like now. There's guys that go into a strip club and they know. The guys that know their way around, the guys that don't lose their money to strippers, the guys that don't tip a girl $100 just for looking at him one way. Those guys are the ones that get it. The guys that are just emptying their pockets.
No,
but are you making a choice if it's based on something that's not real and you think it's real?
But they do get a service out of it. Like, for example, a guy's motorboating me and he's telling No, they do buy, they do get something. They do get something. A tangible, it is a tangible service. And I'm giving an example. One guy was motorboating me and he's telling me all his problems. He knows I'm not going to judge him. He knows I'm not going to even remember what he told me. I'm not going to tell nobody. And I've heard it all. So in that, he looks at me and says, this is the best therapy I've ever paid for. He got a service. I genuinely make them feel good about themselves, feel heard and listened to. They get physical touch, just giving them a hug. I've had guys say, give me a hug, tell me everything's gonna be okay, like it's not
And you
just
approach them first, so
it's
it
not
like
just a
adds
fake
to it.
it's not just a fake something they don't receive. They
But they
receive
paid for it. How
benefits
is it not fake?
It is
because
fake. It's not real.
that's just like if you go and you pay for a therapist. If you pay for everything in life, you pay for water, you pay for air, everything that you want, you pay for. It is real. I have conversations with them that are very real.
But but here's what's not real about it. You don't care. You
That's
care
not
about
true.
his money.
No, that's not true.
You just said you don't care about this guy because as soon
I
as
never
he's
said I
not,
don't care.
as long as
I
I
never
know you
use
don't
those
care. You don't have to
words.
say it. I know.
That's your
I'm saying you
words.
don't care. That's fine.
But that's your bias.
He's a customer to you. No.
No,
He's a
I do
customer.
care.
Once he walks out, are you exchanging numbers with him? Are you going to stay in touch with him?
Yes.
Really? So if he
Yes,
calls you
I
on
do.
the phone and says, "I need to talk. I need a therapy session. Will you talk to me for 2 hours?" You're going to do that? I don't buy it. I think you're lying.
Okay, well, all dancers are different, and I don't speak for all people, but I know I have my friendships where I've brought food to somebody because they wanted a nice meal, gave them
Did they
some
pay
health
you for it?
advice. No, not all the things that I've done have been paid for. If they've given me a certain amount of money and we've built that rapport and friendship, I don't make them
That's what
pay
we're
for
talking about.
everything.
But if
It's
they've given you enough
it's
money over time, because
it's a
ideally you're these
shared
scenarios, but they're going to come back.
There's
That's the
shared
thing.
mutual benefits. There's shared mutual benefits we both receive. It is a reciprocal
Because
relationship.
it's not reciprocal, and that's the
It
point that I'm trying to
is.
drive to. The guys that are coming for your company or for your therapy or to do sexual acts with you, they are looking for more than just a transactional experience. The guys that are looking for transactional experiences, the guys that are just like, here, like, get on me and then get off me and I'm out the door.
That's not true.
It is true. The guys that are looking for these therapy sessions, like, they want something real because they're not getting it from a woman at home or a woman somewhere else. And so it's the illusion that you're creating. In their mind, they think it's real. There's a million
There are
guys
parts
out
about
there.
it that
There's
is real,
millions
though.
of guys out there that think that when a stripper is talking to him, she really likes him, is really interested in his job and what he has to say. Meanwhile, he's counting the bill. Oh, that's another half an hour. You want to go for another 500 or whatever it is. That's the problem I have. It's that, like, as long as the money keeps going, this illusion, it's not. And the thing is, it's not real. That's the thing I'm trying to get at. He's paying for this experience that he thinks is real, but it's really not. You've admitted.
But I'm trying to break down what is real about it. It is a fantasy, but it is built on a part that is real. And that's what makes me a good salesperson. I find something about the interaction and the person that I enjoy. Some of them are sweethearts, have good personalities, they're funny, and I have deep ass conversations with, and I do build friendships. I get to know these people over time. It's not just cut and dry like how you're putting it. And there's been times they might come in the club and they don't have money to spend that day and they just want to have a drink together and we sit and talk. I know about these people's children, what they got going on in their home life. There is something real in that. I care about these people. I check up on them. How you doing? Like, it's not just all about the money. They've paid me for a service and they receive something real out of that. Whether it's a conversation.
I got a question for you, Roni. So
yeah.
The service is what? Friendship, companionship?
If I was to boil it down, they get companionship, affection, advice, somebody that can listen to them,
What's the most useful piece of advice you've ever given somebody, do you think?
not to let a woman take advantage of you that doesn't really love you.
Isn't that what you do though?
No, I'm not taking advantage of them because I only take what they want to give.
You just said you're a salesperson, so that involves selling.
So
you
if
have to
a
sell
car
them
salesman,
something they don't necessarily want.
Aren't there different types of car salesmen? Aren't there car salesmen that want to sell you the right car for your family, that want to make sure they're selling you a safe car that you're going to actually be able to benefit from? And there are salespeople who sell you a lemon that's a completely fake thing that they don't care about you and they're just taking from you. There's different types of salesmen. Life insurance people are salesmen.
That it's not real. Saying something is a fantasy inherently means it's not real.
But there's a part of it that is real. So I would not tell the fat guy that you're so attractive. That's not real. That's not what I do. I find something in it that is real. We have real conversations.
So what do you tell the fat guy?
That he has good personality, that he's funny. I listen to his jokes.
Yeah,
I pump up and encourage I find out his passions in life. No, it's not a lie.
Well, it's not. Okay, so maybe I should clarify.
Women like good sense of humor.
It's not useful advice.
Doesn't help him.
There are very
get on
personal.
And stop shoving stuff in your pie hole is better advice.
There are.
You have to also think about like where this person is coming in to seek this advice. Like it's not, they're going into a strip club. Like it's all.
They got in their car and drove to the.
It's just
club.
But the point that we're trying to
you have all kinds of conversations.
The point that we're trying to make when it comes to that is that the guy we're talking about, who is overweight, who doesn't have experience with women, that's where he goes. He doesn't go with this thinking, this front of mind. He's like, this isn't serious. It's a strip club. Like they don't actually really like me. I'm paying them to listen to me. There's these guys by the millions that will go to these places because to them, it's real attention. So this idea of like, this guy know what he's getting, but it's not real. It's all fake. It's not real. It's transactional. It's not validational. You're not hanging out with that guy because you want
they do. Do you suggest
stay out of the strip club and go lose weight?
But they receive benefits from it.
Another gentleman to like find better ways.
Do anything for them. It doesn't do anything for them when they leave.
It gives them social interactions.
Incentive to come back.
No, for example,
that they have to pay for.
If I meet a guy who doesn't, okay, I'll talk about a virgin that I met. He's a nurse and he's an attractive guy. He could get a woman, but he doesn't know how to bridge that gap of even asking for sex or feeling comfortable that he can be respectful and talk about sex. And I talked him through that. I had him say ways that he could ask me to want to have sex with him and what sounded corny and what, a woman would like to hear. I'm giving him an inner perspective that he didn't get to see.
I don't think any man should take any dating advice from a woman ever.
Okay, in this scenario, did this guy go get laid somewhere else?
I plead the fifth.
Okay,
so the answer is no. So
Can I ask you something?
While
you're talking, while you're asking him.
Hold on a sec. Let me ask this question to Ronnie and potentially even all the ladies on the panel. Do you all know what the difference is between transactional sex and validational sex? I mean, we have a sexologist on the panel, so I'm wondering if maybe she could chime in first. Maybe that's the best place to start.
What was the question?
What's the difference between transactional sex and validational sex?
Define
I would say
validation.
transaction. I would say what do you mean by validation?
Well, you all know what validation means.
So like pity sex?
No. Like you validate them, but not for transactions. See,
validate everyone. Validate because I think validation's per person. Like just because one person gets validation, it doesn't mean the other person does.
Validational sex comes from a place of desire. Transactional sex comes from a place of obligation. You pay money,
So,
therefore we have
yeah.
sex, versus I want to sleep with you because I'm hot for you and I want to give it to you. Therefore, I will do so without any strings attached, without any caveats, without any rules, or without any sort of lines or chores that you have to do to achieve it. That's the difference. That's what we're talking about. That's what
A
men
lot of
want.
guys will pay for female intimacy and companionship, and that's why they'll go to strip joints, right? As a substitute for organic, genuine, burning desire, validational sex. Validational sex is when a girl texts you and says, "I'm going to be there in 30 minutes, be naked when I get there," and like jumps you as soon as she gets in the door. That's validational sex. That's what men want. That's what men ultimately at the end of the day are looking for. But they're taking a strip joint as a substitute for that. It's not an effective substitute, but it's something that they use as a substitute for it. I don't think it's a good use of time. I mean, I would understand why somebody like Ronnie would want to encourage the customer base to keep coming back and to,
Well,
you
men
know,
created
be
strip
sales
clubs, so I feel like that's kind of on them to figure that out and how to navigate getting validational sex and not transactional sex or
And I
transactional
also,
affection.
I don't know. I also think that
I'm not sure I
transactional
follow
is
the point.
different for each
Don't say
person.
that.
What does that have to do with anything? Hold on, Chad. What does that have to do with anything? Men created strip clubs, therefore what?
I think like it seems like you're saying like I don't know, like you're kind of like getting on to Ronnie about like having these relationships with men that she's not like interested in per se, but that's like she's making money, she's doing a job that she decided to do, and the strip clubs are mostly run by men. Men go to strip clubs, so I don't know like what the point is of
But
like
without
going.
without women, strip clubs would never stay open. Without strippers, they wouldn't be able to be open because nobody would go. There'd be no strippers. So like we can do this endless like passing of the buck and see whose fault it is that strip clubs operate or that porn exists or that OnlyFans girls make money. But I mean, I don't know how that's particularly useful.
I don't feel like y'all understand how deep the strip club is. It's not as shallow as you may think that it is. And y'all, as aesthetically attractive men who know how to carry on a conversation with a woman and not be socially awkward, you don't have autism, for example, where I have a customer who has autism. He doesn't know how to interact, and I am able to interact with him and provide something that he would not receive.
But Ronnie, you're not a
And
real
that is a
person in the
tangible, I
strip
am a real
club.
person,
Not
but that's
in the
not
strip
true.
club,
That's your
you are
bias.
playing a character because like you are
But
different
that's a
in the
part of
strip
me
club.
too.
You're different in the strip club than you are elsewhere. You are not an everyday regular person. You are playing a character.
But that's your bias too, because the caring person that I am, I'm still that caring person in the strip club.
Then do it for free. Then do it for free. Then don't charge them
Because
any money
everybody gets paid
and work
for
for
their
free.
services. Nobody works for free. If you provide a service to the
But
world,
again, you're saying either
whether
it's work or it's altruism. You've got to pick if
it
you were
goes
just to say,
together.
if you were just to say like,
That's
hey,
why
you know what? I take advantage of men and I get
artists
off
want to
to
get
it, and
paid.
that's the way that it is.
Artists
Let's just be honest. Like, we don't have to beat
artists
around the
want to get
bush.
artists want to get paid even though they enjoy and are passionate about what they do. It's altruistic, but you also want to get paid for what you benefit others.
But I'm not buying the person. I'm buying the product. I'm buying the
But that's
music.
not
I'm buying
true.
I'm not buying
But
the
that's
person.
not true. That's what makes me a top VIP girl at my club, because they do take stake in my individual unique personality. They're not just giving me money just because it's a sexual to it. It goes way deeper than just the sex part.
Why do it in a strip club then? Sorry, Rich, really quick. Why do you have to do it in a strip club? If your advice is so good and you've got a master's degree in psychology, why don't you just open up a practice?
Because that's a comfortable environment where people don't feel judged, where people can tap into sexual fantasies that they have, where they can be in a fun environment and enjoy all those things that I mentioned that I give them: conversation, affection, and all of those things. We get to dance to the music together. That is a certain environment that offers its own benefits.
Rich, what
They
do you
get
got?
to learn how to interact with different people and learn from people from all over the world.
No, it's fine. I mean, like you've got your, you know, your strong convictions, and I get it. That's how strippers are.
Even if you take a girl out on a date, you're still paying for the date. And then you're having conversation. Everybody got a benefit.
And they
out
usually
of
have an
it.
agenda to try to sleep with you at the end of the
And then they want to have right.
Well, I mean, the big difference between going out on a date organically and going to Ronnie Gold's VIP strip club is that the man goes to the strip club knowing there's going to be naked women there, and that there's going to be maybe a chance for sexual intimacy, but there's going to be a cost to it that's going to they transactional.
But they know that going there. That's their decision. And
but when you go
We've
out
already
on a
covered
date,
that though.
But when you go on a date, the potential for validational sex, which is enthusiastic, genuine, and organic, and not transactional. Although some people do argue, oh, well, you paid for the dinner, so it's potentially transactional. But it's just gentlemanly things that men have always done. It's not the same thing, but I get what you're saying. So I kind of want to move on from it because I get your point. Like I'm not arguing your point. Fine. I'm not saying like strip clubs are not the best place for men to spend their time, right? Because when they're going in there, they're going in there to give women that don't have a genuine passion for the man.
That's not true though.
Money. No, it is true.
But no, that's your opinion. You're telling me, but you're telling me as a woman how I feel.
Right now, I can.
No, I have friends at the strip club.
Nurse, how much did you charge him?
I never said that I fucked the virgin that was a nurse, and I never said that.
To it. So
I alluded, but I never said that.
Okay, so how much did you charge him for the pleasure of your company for the evening?
I get paid.
It's transactional.
No, I get paid for my time. I get paid for my time. But what I do with my time, that is my decision. So after they have paid $1,000 for our VIP, if they are not a sweetheart that I genuinely am attracted to and have an interest there, then I would not pursue them or go out on a date outside the club. Everybody does not get the same transactions.
The next hour, like I get your point. I get it.
It's not different for everybody. Some of the customers I like, and some of the customers I don't.
Yeah, but you still
some of it. Yes.
Okay, so it's a transaction. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but it is a mutually shared benefit.
Stop. Angie, when you go out with your boyfriend, do you bill him for your time that evening, or you go out together with the intention of having dinner and conversation? Right. Yeah. That's what validational intimacy equates to. But yours is a transactional type, and that's all that we're trying to establish and make clear to the viewers. That is a different type of interaction between men and women. I get that you provide a service. I get that there's socially awkward guys. I get that there's guys that are maybe on the spectrum or overweight, or they struggle with women in real life, and you're providing that substitute for them. I'm just saying that's not a good use of a man's time. A better use of their time is to level themselves up and do the work so they don't have to go and pay for Ronnie Gold, and they can find an attractive Angie on a dating app or something like that, right?
But even guys I've met managers of top companies that are attractive men. They don't have time. Yeah. They want
don't go to strip joints unless they're going out with their friends for shits and giggles.
No, some of them come because they want the benefit of being able to have a conversation with the woman.
There is no high value guy that goes to a fucking
Yes, they do. I've met managers of Amazon.
They're going out for shits and giggles with the boys.
But they're not falling for the fantasy. They're not letting the fantasy run away. They know what it is compared to the guy that doesn't. That's the differentiation we're making here. You've got your marks and your non-marks. Your non-marks know what it is. Your marks, they don't know what it is. All right. Okay. I want to move on from this. I want to go to Kayla. So we asked the ladies before the show, guys. We don't do this on the air. We asked the ladies before the show if they have any controversial opinions or particular stances on dating, relationships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Kayla, you mentioned you're married a little over 2 years. You said something along the lines of people are basing marriage on compatibility. that's not always the right way to do it. Women shouldn't have to rely on a man. A woman's sole purpose is not to raise or bear. Sole purpose is not to bear children. Can you just talk a little bit more about that, and we can kind of go down that road?
Yeah, just to clarify, I believe that like the best marriages do rely on compatibility. I don't know. It sounded like you misspoke there, but yeah,
Can we back up? What do we mean by
compatibility.
compatibility? Like, what does that mean?
Like mutual interests, same like maybe political ideologies, stuff like that.
Okay.
Respect. I think like in like a modern reality, like a lot of the best relationships are going to have both partners contributing like intellectually, emotionally, and financially.
What should the contribution be between the two partners? Like 50-50, 70-30, 80-20? Like what's ideal for you?
I feel like it depends on the specific situation, but like for example, my husband and I split 70-30 and I'm the 30%. So
Okay. Why do you guys do 70-30? Is it just based on your income?
yeah, based on our income, he makes a lot more than I do. So
Okay. Go ahead, Mom.
Okay, hold on. I'm curious here. So if let's imagine you're not dating. You're married or dating?
married.
Married. Okay, let's imagine like you weren't married to him, or this is him. You really like a guy, but he's broke. Are you still gonna stay with him?
Define broke.
He can't pay that 70% of the wages. Or 70% of the bills. You're paying 70%.
I don't think that he would be on my radar.
You wouldn't even look at
You'd
him.
be invisible.
Sure. I mean, yeah. But I don't think that I would ever encounter that kind of person like that I was looking to get into a relationship with.
Okay. So when you said that you think both people should be contributing financially, was one of the things you said, that both people should contribute financially. Is that just like the 30% you mean? Or
I think that it doesn't have to be that both of them are contributing financially, but I think that the best partnerships like do have that aspect in it.
What do you do, Kayla?
I'm a spa coordinator and esthetician apprentice.
Okay. And you guys just recently got married?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Nice. And plans are for children, or?
We've talked about it, but not for, it's up in the air.
Oh, okay. How old are you?
28.
Okay. Do you feel like a biological clock ticking, like the pressure's on, or?
Not really, because my stance, like, if you asked me when I was getting married if I was going to have children, I would have said no, but it has kind of changed just but it has changed just based off of.
Hold on, I got crazy echo.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was.
Okay.
Kayla, I can
I
still
think that
hear
was
you.
my headphones.
Okay,
Can you
All
ask
right.
the question again?
go on.
Yeah, can you ask the question again? I like kind of forgot.
No, sorry. I was asking you about your plans for children, and like any biological pressure to want to have them sooner than later. I know, for some women they tend to have a younger target, but others will say, "I'll do it when I hit 35 or I'm more established or I've achieved this."
Oh
level."
yeah, I think the oldest that I would go for having children would be like 34.
Yeah. Okay. Just putting it out there. Putting it out there. What was the unpopular opinion, Moff, that Kayla had?
Well, we were kind of getting there. I mean, it was the compatibility thing, or women shouldn't have to. She said like women shouldn't have to rely on a man. I'm just paraphrasing here, or that a woman's sole purpose is not to bear children. I mean, I want to drill down on that. Like, what are women good at? Like, what do women do better than men?
What do women
Besides
do better than
raise
men?
children, yeah. Yeah.
I think women can do a lot of things better than men.
Name one.
I would say
It's not a trick question.
I know.
They can definitely get you club access better. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
That
well.
at least.
Yeah, that's true.
There to help her and help ultimately.
Shay, I'm
I
getting
mean, I think
nothing.
that
Your
women
mic
are
is completely
better
breaking
than
up.
men at just like connecting with people. And I think that there's a lot of, I mean, if we're talking about careers, there's a lot of careers that are based off of just connecting with people. So therapy, I'll
Like
say that. Women
therapy.
are better at being therapists.
But is
I think they're better
therapy
at being nurtured. They nurture. They love.
yeah, which is
They
a
have these
which is a
deep
which is a
nurturing.
trait that's for children, right? Is for raising children. So it's like if women are not meant for
When
solely
men
raising
they
children.
came back, they were there to help their
Well,
husband.
I
They were
think
there
that
to
men
save
also have a responsibility to nurture and raise children, considering that their testosterone levels drop 30% after they become a father. So
What does that have to do with it?
they're not hardwired to just provide and
The,
like go out into the workforce. Like they
yeah,
have
the
a
reason why men's
obligation.
testosterone levels
Because of
drop is so
women.
they pair bond and they don't run off and go banging other chicks, knocking them up, generally speaking, is the protocol for that. It's not really to do the child rearing component. The child rearing is best done by women under the age of 5, 6, 7 or so. I think men do a better job after that age.
I agree with that. I have 4 kids and I breastfed all of them for a year and did more of the nurturing stage. And then my ex-husband now does more with my older sons
Mhm.
because they need to
I guess
learn
my
how to
qu-
be a. Go ahead.
no, please finish the thought.
I was just gonna say because I believe that boys need to learn how to be a man by their father, and now he does more of those kinds of things with him with the kids.
That's good. That's good. That's a good way to do it, I'd say. I think I heard, I don't know if it was Spencer or you said it, Caleb, but something around a notion of you really can't rely on a man and that he's got to be able to provide something. But you also mentioned that you've got kind of a 70-30 split. So you're kind of relying on a man in that sense, aren't you? If he's paying for most of the stuff. Like, how do you
Well,
sort
no,
of
because if
reconcile
I
that?
was single, I would be able to live on my own.
Okay, but if you're single, then you'd be paying for 100% of stuff, but you're not paying 50-50. You're paying only 30%.
That's
So how
true.
do you reconcile that if you?
How do I reconcile if I was single that I would have to pay 100%? I would just
Well,
be.
well, did I hear you correctly earlier when you said that you shouldn't have to rely on yourself, and a man should be able to sort of like do things for you, but you also want to be independent? I'm not sure if
I
I heard you
didn't say
correctly.
that. No, I
No,
didn't
okay,
say that. Or I misspoke. So
okay. But
But you
is there like
also
an independence component to that you were talking about? Like a woman's got to be able to stand on her own 2 feet.
sorry, repeat that.
Like a woman's got to be able to stand on her own 2 feet. Was there an independence component that you were talking about?
I mean, I feel like it benefits women to have like a backup in case something happens. You don't really know how your relationships are going to go. Like I don't want to quit my job and like give up what I've built just to like cook and clean for my husband
Why not?
So what's the difference between
because I
cooking and
like my
cleaning?
job.
Well, I mean, hear me out for a second. Like, what's the difference between cooking and cleaning for your husband and serving your household and your family versus serving a man in a workplace and paying taxes and working for him?
You cut out a little bit on the last part.
What's the difference between serving your employer, collecting your paycheck and paying your taxes, or serving your husband and your family and your children at home by cooking and cleaning and looking after the home? Why is that frowned upon?
Why do I frown upon that?
Yeah.
Well, just professional fulfillment is important to me, so that's just something that I value.
So you're saying it's more fulfilling to line a man's pocket with gold that you work for and put hours in
That's
building
not
his
what she
business
said.
than it is building your family and looking after your husband and your children? I'm confused.
I'm not lining his pockets, though.
You're making him rich.
How is that?
It's not your business.
It's not your business. You know, as an employee, you're always making your employer rich. Their job is to pay you as little as possible so they can make the profits off it. So you would find more fulfillment making a man that isn't your husband rich versus making
Well, I work for a woman, so.
Okay, but you're making her rich. So you'd rather make a woman rich than to take care of a house, make it a home, serve your husband, raise children?
I didn't say that I would rather do one or the other. I just don't think that I have to choose to do one or the other.
Well, I heard you say that it's more fulfilling to go to work.
It is fulfilling to go to work.
Interesting.
But you do have to
taking care of taking care
right?
of my clients, and I enjoy like my work dynamic. I enjoy the people that I work with.
Mm.
And you're not sure if you want to have children, right, Kayla? So maybe that is like what you want to invest in, right?
Sorry,
Where
what
does
did you
that
say?
come from? Why aren't you sure you want to have kids?
You don't know if you want to have children, right? Is that right? I mean, like you just don't know at this point in time.
Yeah, I
So
don't
at
really
this point,
know.
you're just trying to find a way to invest that energy and like that need to fulfill like take care of someone, right? So ultimately, it could be preparing you since you're an esthetician, right? You're taking care of someone, so it's actually probably contributing to eventually how you could take care of your child because esthetician is taking really good care of someone while they're in your in your care. So I don't think that that's
It's
necessarily
doing
wrong.
Botox and lip filler injections. Let's not act like we're saving the
Esthetician is
manatees here.
We don't do Botox and lip
is not-
Whatever it
filler. We're
is. I mean, to
holistic.
sit here and say
Esthetician
that
is
being an
We do
esthetician is going to
facials
prepare
and
you for motherhood is
massages,
nonsense.
the whole
brows.
In what way does that prepare you for
You have
motherhood?
such a narrow.
because you're learning how to take care of someone other than yourself. You're putting your needs aside, and you're putting the
You
other
can
person.
do that. You've got
me
maternal
just-
instincts. You already know how to do that. You
Okay,
don't have to
but
go
she's
through
let
the
me
taking
just
fucking
jump in here
job.
for a sec.
It doesn't matter what she does.
Guys, let me just jump in here for a sec. I want to ask the mom on the panel, Ronnie. So you've got 4 kids.
Yes.
Did you find the being a mom, raising children part more fulfilling than the work part of your life, or was it the other way around?
I think that life is bittersweet, and I love the time that I spend with my kids, but I also love the time that I spend pursuing my art. And when I'm not with my kids, I really miss them a lot. But I find fulfillment in both areas. When I was a stay-at-home mom, I did not have any money. For 12 years, I did the cooking and the cleaning, and I had a garden. I was one of those moms who cooked like from scratch. I made my own almond milk, and my whole life revolved around everything with the children. And once I went through divorce, I had nothing for myself, no stability. I couldn't go put on an application somewhere, oh, I've been breastfeeding for, 5 years while there's a gap in my work history. You know, um, I miss my kids, but I feel like women should just do what they want to do. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, I commend you. More power to you. That's fucking awesome. Kids need their mom. And if you want to work and find a way to balance it. And it's hard to balance.
Yeah, but I don't
Ronnie, if you were
know
married
anybody
again,
that's found a way to balance it, quote unquote. Like I
I
think
think
you're
there
either
are
good at
women
one or
that
the other. Like you
Women
can't really
have to
become a
learn how to
jack of all
balance. They
trades
have to
and
learn how to be a mother and then still also be themselves and then still also be a wife and then
right,
still
but how's that
also
experiment
maintain.
working out in culture and society today, Shay?
It's not working out well, but do you want to know why? It's because unfortunately we did choose a man, or when we do choose a man, sometimes they don't always continue to choose us. And so then we have to figure out how to do everything on our own again.
Okay,
So we can
let
have
me
this
stop that.
marriage and
Whoa. Let me just deal with that one thought. So you said that when a woman chooses a man, they don't always continue to choose you back. Is that what I heard you say? Why is that?
because some people change. People people start to grow, people start to enjoy new things in life. And if your partner isn't supporting that, then eventually, unfortunately, you're probably going to outgrow them. And unfortunately, if you can't convince the other person to support your new the new activities you're doing, or the new like ventures that you're trying to pursue to become what you feel is the better version of yourself, and they
Are you
don't want to
talking
support
about
that, you
yourself, or are you talking
continue.
about the man right now?
I'm talking about either person in the relationship that chooses
Okay, but
to.
but
Let me
what I'm
tell you,
trying to
do not
understand,
interrupt me. Can you hold on 1 second? So let
well,
me
what
give
I'm
you
trying to get some clarity on, because you're kind of getting off in the weeds on this. What I'm trying to get some clarity on is, you said that the problem that women are experiencing is that men aren't
men and women,
them.
partners, people in marriages. It's too easy to give up anymore. It's easier with social media, with other people, easily accessible. It's too easy to choose someone that is giving you a temporary fulfillment, unfortunately, and it's the interaction that you're choosing, that person is choosing to have with someone that they shouldn't. And it could be either partner. There's no blame on a man or a woman, but it's too easy now to seek
but what I wanted to ask you,
from somebody else.
to get some clarity on, though, is that when you say that,
don't put it on woman, put it on the partner, that's
we don't
choosing.
use partner. We don't say the word partner around here.
The man or the woman
men
who
and women
chooses to no longer be fully committed in the relationship, and decides to step away from the committed relationship they were supposed to be in. So it could be the man.
With one side of the equation at a time.
Shay, you've got to stop. Rich, please.
So we went back to men aren't continuing to choose these women over a long-term basis. So women.
It's not just men. Like I said, stop saying men.
No, I heard you say
men
that.
or women. Okay,
I know, but I want to get
about women, but I'm a woman.
Can you stop talking over me and listen to what I'm saying here, so you can hear the question I'm going to ask you before you run off the handle here? Cool.
Well, I just don't even like how you guys are doing this. I just feel like this is an opportunity for you to try to make women look uneducated.
I'm asking you for clarity on the question that you brought up, the statement that you brought up at first, because you said that men aren't continuing to choose.
And I tried to correct you and say
so
the man or
so let's
the woman.
deal with that part only right now, and stop going off in the weeds and trying to get distracted. So why is it that men aren't continuing to choose women that they've invited into their life over long-term?
Okay, I'm correcting this. Why are men and women choosing
just
to
men,
not
just men? Let's just deal with men, Shay. Let's just deal with men.
I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know. I'm not a man, Rich. I don't know why someone would choose to no longer give me the attention, or give their wife or the female that they are in the relationship with, why they choose to no longer give the attention that they're giving them and choose to give somebody else. So
sounds like there's a learning opportunity here.
My assumption is that one of like the man or the wife, one of them is trying to become a better version of themselves. And while they're trying to become the better version of themselves, the other person, whether it's male or female, whoever is trying to better themselves, they're not supporting that other individual. So they're trying to encourage them to get on the same page as them and to also become a better version of themselves.
You're talking about something else totally different.
No, I'm not. I'm saying the reason why is because people change. Will you stop interrupting me? People change.
I'm going to interrupt you because this is our show
with the other person. You outgrow each other, and that's okay, because you're not going to always be the same person.
Shay, you've got to let him say his point and ask the question. We can't have a show if every time somebody else. I'm still doing it. Like you. He can't ask the question if you keep coming off mute and interrupting.
He keeps saying woman, and I'm trying to explain to him I don't know.
No,
it could be
you're
the woman.
Not answering the question. The question was why are men leaving women? Why are men leaving these women? And the answer that you gave me was I don't know. So let's move that question to the other gals on the panel. Do you other gals echo what she's saying? The reason why women have to go and find a way to stand on their own 2 feet is because men are not staying committed to women. Is this what you're seeing also? Because I'd like to get some insight from the women on why they think that's happening.
No.
Angie says no.
Okay. Kayla or Ronnie?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know about everybody. I just know about myself and what I've experienced. I was in a 12-year marriage. I moved in with my husband the day I turned 18. I did the traditional, like, had children with my husband. and he was physically abusive. So I eventually got out of a really bad abusive relationship
Why was he
where
physically abusive?
I don't know why a man would want to punch his wife. That's something that man has issues. I don't
Okay.
know why. Have been through a lot of therapy, but
I mean,
they
I've
don't
seen
teach
women
you
punch
why.
men. I've seen women punch
Well,
men, and is
I'm not
abusing men
talking,
too,
I'm
so,
talking about what I experienced. I was in an
yeah.
abusive relationship where my husband physically abused me
Okay. But I
and
mean, what I was
verbally.
asking you is, I've seen
it,
women
so
throw
that's
hands at
why
men.
well, you asked me originally the question of, are men not choosing these women and
Mhm.
and these relationships are breaking up? I don't know about that. I had no there was no infidelity. He would have
Mhm.
stayed with me for 20, 40 plus years beating my ass if I had
Mhm.
chose to stay. That's why I stayed for 12 years. So it
Mhm.
wasn't his lack of loyalty or trying to run out and go cheat or not be with me. He was very committed to the relationship,
Okay, he's
but it
just
was
physically abusive.
abusive.
Okay, and we don't know why he was physically abusive. There was nothing that you did. He was just physically abusive.
I don't any
I don't think she
oh
would have had to
Well,
do anything for
Hold
it,
on,
it to
hold
be
on. Let her
physically
answer the
abusive.
question. Let her answer the question.
when you say, is there anything that I did, that the way that your question is implying that there is ever something that a woman can do that she deserves to be hit.
Nope.
if
No, that's
if
not what I said.
Not
you're
the
I'm just
question.
but
asking
that's what
what
but
happened
that's
on
the
your end that triggered it.
but if you ask, why does somebody hit somebody, is it, oh, your food wasn't cooked right, or your shirt wasn't ironed right, or you said the wrong secret code word for the day? Like, there's no
But
reasoning. These men don't,
are those the
men,
real examples you're using? Or are
yeah,
you just
men,
using those as
yes,
placeholders? So
yes,
you
I'm
ironed his
using
shirt wrong, then he
those.
beat you up. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's the placeholder, but
Okay.
it's
Well,
deeper
no, is
than
it a
that. But
placeholder or the
well,
truth? Because we're looking for
no,
actual answers.
no, I'm giving generalizations. I'm giving
But we don't
generalizations
want
to,
generalizations.
but you have to generalize
Because you
if you're
can, no,
talking.
you don't.
If
Because you can make
I'm
up
trying to
anything you
speak.
want.
I'm trying to speak. If you have a 12-year relationship, there's no way I could fully give you what the in-depths of why this man beat me on a consistent basis for years. But I'm giving instances that stand out in my mind to like generalize.
Does
There
it
was
not
I
help?
would
Does
not
it
I
not
would
help
do
to look
something.
internally? Does it not
I
help to
would
look internally and try to decide, to try to figure out why certain what
well,
certain
you
inputs
haven't.
get certain outputs and why
Okay.
certain outcomes are a result of certain
well,
things that happen to
I
I'm,
can't
precede it?
answer the
Hold on.
one question until I finish answering the other question, because you're going into a separate question there. If you ask me why somebody hit me, maybe I said something, did something he didn't like, and then he chose to respond with violence. But there's
Okay.
not a, to say why is implying like I did something to deserve it. Like, did I smack him and then got smacked back? No, it didn't have to be a reason. He could just be in a bad mood or whatever and felt I was talking too much,
Okay.
or the kids weren't quiet or whatever. But when you're asking, your separate question is, if a woman is in an abusive situation, is there, she has to look within herself as to what she caused. I feel like I chose poorly in a choice for a husband and a mate for my children, and he was abusive from the beginning, and I chose poorly for my lack of self-worth that I had for what I went through as a child, going through seeing my mother being abused. So I think that's what I had a stake in. I chose the wrong partner, and then I chose to keep being with him believing that he would change. So then I had to choose to want better for myself, and I got out of that. And like y'all were talking earlier about the 70-30 and women having to be able to like hold their own if this relationship ends. I was not able to hold my own for so long because I was married for 12 years where he paid for everything and I was just a stay-at-home mom. So I definitely think women should have some kind of security outside of even if they are married. I was married for a decade. I thought I'd be with this man forever, but I
Okay, let me
still
ask the
had.
ladies this. Okay, let me just hit pause on that idea. So thank you for clarifying that. What is it you think that a man needs from a woman to want to stay with her, to want to look after her, to care for her, to be with her? What do you think the things are that a man needs?
Peace,
Sex.
acceptance, love.
Ronnie and Shay?
I think she touched on some good things: love, care, affection, intimacy,
Shay, are you still with us or no?
support.
Well, we're waiting to hear you
Looking for
chime
some.
in.
We're
You're the
looking for
psychologist.
some. Yeah, we're looking for some
Look for
engagement
peace.
here.
They look for peace.
Peace. Peace. So I'm of the opinion that I don't think that men leave good women, right? Like that's what I wanted to sort of get to, because when you said earlier that, you know, men are abandoning these women, that they're walking away from these women, they're not staying committed to them. It's an unusual statement given the reality of the circumstances, because women initiate 80% of divorces. So
I
it's really
believe
women
that.
that are leaving relationships, not men.
I can see that.
Yeah, but there's reasons that women leave relationships. They don't just do it
Yeah.
in a vacuum.
Well, sure. I
Like
mean,
what?
there's lots of reasons why women would leave a relationship. But I think the point that we were talking about earlier was that, you know, men are leaving women, like they're abandoning women. So women have to stand on their own 2 feet. They have to look after themselves. They can't rely on a man anymore. Wasn't that your point, Shay?
No, I mean, I don't even. I think that it just people outgrow each other. People don't support
People
each other.
outgrow each other.
Yes, they don't.
What does that mean?
They just, you start to enjoy new things. You start to, I don't know, pursue different careers. And sometimes the people that you're spending time with don't support that. They don't support that. And
But
why
is
would
that
you
that
want to
person's
continue to get one?
obligation, right? Like if I sign up for something, or if I buy something, or I invest something, or I commit to something, I'm committing for what it is at that time of my commitment.
But
So
you're
if
telling me that
something,
they're not
if
a
something,
positive.
hold on. So if something materially changes within that, what obligation do I have to tolerate that change or to put up with that change? If I
Well,
signed up for this, let's just like if I marry a girl who weighs 130 pounds, I'm signing up for that right there. This is what I'm committing to. How you are in this state. If you blow up in a year
for
to be
better or for
230
worse,
But then that's
or
not
it's in the
230
vows.
pounds, I have to put up with that, or what? Or 400 pounds? I mean, where do we draw the line?
Put up with that? That like,
Yeah.
why would you say put up with that? That is like, you don't know how, like, what if she has children? What if she gets sick? What if there's like, what if
I'm
certain things
talking about in
happen
this
that cause that
particular
weight gain?
case. If I commit to a girl at we can use weight, we can use anything. If I commit to her saying, hey, I'm committing to who you are and what you are bringing to the table at this particular moment, that's what I'm signing up for.
Okay, you're
What if
signing
she
up for
gets
that, but then that
cancer?
means it's not, that's complete, like, that, then that means that you aren't actually fully invested with that person, because you should be able to continue to love that person
That.
and like
Yeah.
adore that person and
Why?
support that person regardless of, because it's not about any physical.
That's
And where do you
sounding.
draw the line?
That's
Where do you draw the line? So it's like
That.
You draw
what?
the
All of a
line when you
sudden, so
love
like let's
someone
say
so much,
so
but it
she
doesn't
wants.
matter what they
So
do
let's
because you love
say,
them
so it
so
doesn't
much.
matter what they do. Do
They
you want to
don't.
go down this
That's.
road with me? Because we can. Let's say I love this woman so much, and then she turns out she drowns one of my kids. Do I still have to love her then?
You
Do
don't
you
have
see
to
how
love
this
her. No,
doesn't?
No,
you
but
don't
see,
have
that's
to
an
love her, but
That's
then
what
if
I'm
you
saying.
enjoy
No, it's
her
not an
enough, you want to
extreme. It's not an
continue.
extreme. I'm using it
that.
as an example that if I sign up for a particular
Let's
service
go
or I
back
sign
to
up
the
for a
she gets
particular, hold on.
overweight
If I,
example.
It's about a
we can go
service.
back to that,
This
but
is an individual.
the point that I'm trying to make is that if you sign up
And
for a
that sounds
subscription or
transactional.
you sign up for a service, you sign up for a
So
benefit of something, and then that benefit changes, you
I
are
just
under
want
no obligation to
to.
continue giving that person your time, effort, resources, money, attention, any of that.
I just want to
And this
chime
sounds like
in
you're not
to
going to have a
say
successful marriage, because if it's
that
that easy for you to leave, then that wouldn't be something that I would want, just anyone I would want to be in a relationship with.
it's sounding really transactional and not validational.
That
No,
sounds
it's
very,
not transactional at
that's
all.
you're,
It's the
you're just
idea
able
of
to
I
leave
get a
something
certain
that you,
thing. No. See, this is the nonsense. See, like, and this is how we do. And this is, I'm going to come back to this really quick. We're not allowed to ask questions about why a woman gets hit in a relationship, but we're not
you
allowed
think
to ask
there's a
questions
certain
why. We're
time
not
that
allowed
they,
to ask questions
you want to
why.
validate
But we are
reasons.
allowed to ask questions. We're like, oh, but if
Oh my
a
God.
Will you
woman
please
leaves
tell
a
me when you
man,
think that a woman should be like able to be hit in a
but if
relationship?
a
Like,
woman leaves a
a
man, or
Right.
if a
That
man does something,
question.
we're allowed to ask what he did. When she's like, oh, well, you left the man. Well, what did he do? What fault did he have? We're allowed to ask the man why
maybe he
he's
didn't have
the
a fault.
reason
Maybe it was
that
just someone
she
that she
left
was
the
no longer in love
relationship.
with, because they no longer,
Here's the
you
problem,
can't
Shay.
force
Like, the
people to,
problem is, Shay, when you're talking, you aren't listening. And if you aren't listening, you aren't hearing the
I am
question.
listening.
And if you
I
aren't,
am
and you're still
listening.
talking, you're still trying to talk over me. And I'm going to do this one more time. I promise. I'm not joking.
I'm
If
going
you
to probably
come off
go.
mute, yeah, okay. If you come off mute one more time and interrupt me, Spencer or Rich, we're just going to boot you. Like, we're going to have some respect on this panel. And if you want to go, just go. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. See you later. Jesus Christ.
What a shitty sexologist.
It's
Eh?
like,
She can't
if
even
you
listen.
can't,
I
like,
wanted
I'm
to
trying to
talk
answer
to her.
a question here.
Me
Well,
too.
she should have
I
controlled
was
her. She
enjoying
could have
that.
controlled her fucking. She could have controlled herself. So I don't know what she was going on about, because she wasn't going to answer the question. But yes,
Well,
the point that I'm saying is that why is it acceptable to say, I'm going to sign up for this, I'm going to commit to this person under these circumstances, and at any point down the line, they completely reserve the right to change and become a completely new person, and I just have to deal with that, and I just have to put up
No,
with it?
you
How
ain't
does
got to
that
be
make
with them
sense?
no more. No, y'all don't have to
Okay,
be together
but
no more.
she didn't seem to get that point.
Well, I don't know what she thinks. I just know what I think.
I don't know why it's such a problem.
I am poly. I believe in multiple loves. I don't believe that you have to stay with one person for the rest of your life. Like, I have a couple guys that I talk to for different, we have, different reasons.
What ages are your kids, Ronnie? I couldn't remember.
I have an 8-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 17-year-old.
So most of them still growing and developing age.
Yes.
So how can it be good for them if they have multiple men?
I
that
don't
are
have them. I don't.
Men?
That doesn't happen. That doesn't
So they've never
happen.
met your kids.
If I have not been with a man for at least a year to 2 years, and it is like a committed, like I'm just with that person, and if I'm not in that type of situation, it's very rare that I have introduced people to my children. My children have their dad, that he fulfills that role for them. I'm not looking for someone really to be around my kids.
What
But
do
we
you
can
mean by
agree based
committed
on
when
the
you
story.
say poly?
You said what?
What do you mean by it's a committed relationship when you also say that you're poly?
Because I am poly, but I have times in my life where I have been in a committed relationship. And at that point, I decided to just be with that person. But that doesn't change that I do, in general, prescribe to a concept of having multiple loves.
Isn't that just being called single? Or am I misunderstanding that?
No, it's different, because when you are honest and you tell people this is my mindset, you can become in relationships. It's more of a mindset. It's not just a relationship status. Like, there are people who are single, but they are looking for a monogamous relationship. I am single, but I'm not looking for a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
I'm more
Yeah,
want
yeah.
a poly relationship where
If I
we could be.
understand you correctly, Ronnie, I think what you're saying is that you can be committed to a person,
Yes.
not mutually exclusive with them.
There are times where I'm sexually exclusive with somebody.
Okay, so
I don't like sleeping around.
That's what I heard, which is what caught me up.
Okay.
is why I didn't
Poly
understand that.
poly doesn't necessarily mean I have multiple sexual partners. Like, for example, I have a love who I have been with for years, and he lives in Puerto Rico. So when I come to Puerto Rico, I am experiencing that with him. And men in my life would have to know there are a few times out of the year that I'm going to go to Puerto Rico and spend time with my love in Puerto Rico. And that's not going nowhere. That person's still going to be in my life. And if you're not okay with that, then I wouldn't continue pursuing somebody with that, because they'd have to understand
You
I'm
mostly find
poly.
yourself in relationships with men or women?
Usually with men.
Usually with women.
Women is more fluid.
I'm curious about your experience as a bisexual woman. What do you notice about the biggest differences between dating men and dating women?
Dating women, what's the difference between men dating bisexual women and men dating just heterosexual women?
No. My
What are you
question
asking?
is, what do you notice about the differences between dating women and dating men? Because you're
What's
in a
the
position
difference
where
between
you're
dating
trying to
women and men?
connect with both sexes, right? So I'm just asking, like, what do for people watching, like, what do you notice about the biggest differences between women and men when you date them?
Well, I more want to date men romantically. Women, it is more of a friendship there, and we might have a threesome together, but that's not really like, I don't really pursue women romantically.
Right. Okay.
If I
So
was to be in a
you're not a
relationship with a
lesbian.
woman, there
Yes,
would
you're not
have
a
to be a
lesbian,
man involved.
but you will have a threesome or be friendly with a woman. But
Yes,
you're
and
doing like a conventional type of male-female type
yes,
relationship.
I am more of a male female conventional traditional social norm person, if that makes sense. But I'm an honest hypocrite. I only want equal rights when it suits me.
I think that's all women, really.
Right.
No, I
Like,
was even
I
going to
want.
say this early, really quick, Ron. I'll let you continue your point. Like, I was going to say this, but we kind of moved on to something. But like, you said something that very few women say, and you said I chose poorly, and I take responsibility at that, and that was my fault, and I made the wrong decision. We've had a lot of women on the show, and when it comes to the relationship ending or what happened, it's almost always because I chose him when he was this, and then he just changed out of nowhere. I don't know what the hell happened. And that's very rarely the case. Like, a guy doesn't get married or wife up a girl and then all of a sudden just start beating the shit out of her. Like, there are signals and things at play.
There were
Like, you can kind of
signals,
tell when somebody's
yes.
like that. So
No,
I
yes, there
commend
were
you for your
definite.
honesty. If nothing else, like, you're honest and you're owning your stuff, which is, I would say, refreshing. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't have
Didn't
a
mean to interrupt your train
victim.
of thought. Please continue.
No, I'm glad you made that point. I don't have a victim mentality. I have to look at myself like, why did I choose these poor partners? What in me so that I don't choose those partners again? Because I don't want to keep experiencing that.
What would
But
you say your biggest flaw is when it comes to romantic relationships? Like, where do you think that you drop the ball?
I wanna answer honestly, but I feel like y'all ain't gonna believe it. But I feel like I give too much and then I get taken advantage of. Like,
Give too much insight.
I am a type of woman who will, if a guy has a business idea, I'll give him some money. Like, oh, well, see if you can train, I give you this $1,000, see what you could do with it. Can you make it into more or whatever? Like, I'm a giving type of person, and I think that I have to have more discernment because I've been taken advantage of.
It's so interesting that you use that as an example, because I would think if we take one step backwards out of that, if some guy is asking you for money to start a
No, he
business,
didn't
to start
necessarily
some
ask me for
venture,
money. No,
okay,
I've no, I've
You
I
just
have
offer it.
I have called a guy friend that I was talking to at the time, And after receiving a $4,000 VIP room, I just randomly sent a guy some money that he did not ask for, just because I believed in him.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I mean, so that's all on you. Like, my whole thing was like, it's surprising. I guess what I was going to bring up, it would be surprising. It's like a guy that's asking for money. I've got this really good business idea.
They don't.
That's a guy that's not even squared away, probably in the first place.
That's not what I meant.
So, all right, I got you. But I mean, I know you do this lifestyle, you do the poly thing, the bisexual thing. I guess it's all fine, well and good, because looking at things like your social media and what you've done for work and all that, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think that a traditional relationship is A, your bag, and B, like, I don't know if that's something that would even work.
No.
I don't know a lot of guys out there that would look at that and be like, oh yeah, this is, I want to wife this up and take this home and make this all mine. So I guess it works out for your poly
Yeah, I'm not
strategy.
looking for that.
That was a little surprising. Yeah, I mean, and if you were,
Right.
I think you'd be in trouble, but you're not. So there you go.
Yeah, I was married for 12 years, and I represented myself in 7 legal cases and became a paralegal out of what I experienced going through divorce. And I worked at the Supreme Court after going through divorce because of what I experienced legally. I would never get married again. I'm not looking for like a legal any of that. I could be in a meaningful long-term relationship, but they would have to respect who I am, because that's what it is.
Spence, we had a late edition guest. We want to bring her on. We got KC backstage.
Yeah, she looks good to go, I think.
Yeah. Hey, KC, how are you?
Hello, everyone.
All right. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. I know things are kind of crazy with time differences and things like that.
Yeah.
Really quick, just so we can introduce you to the panel, and we'll kind of bring you up to speed. We'll kind of pick things up where we left off. But how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. Where are you from? You can just say like
from
general
California.
area or state. Okay, you're California. What do you do for work?
Right now, I'm a singer-songwriter, event planner, just all around creative. I do upcycling, jewelry, graphic design, just dabble in a little bit of everything.
A lot of things. Okay, cool. What's your relationship status? Single, married, relationship?
Currently single. Recently.
No situationships or anything like that? Recently single? Okay.
No, not like that.
Recently, how recent?
Yeah, like literally a couple weeks.
Okay. And I guess we can ask the show real quick. Like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's dive into that. Go ahead.
Like what happened?
Yeah, we're gonna go right in.
Well, he considered himself like a businessman, and I thought I was dating like a good Christian man or Catholic man, but finding out that he's going to strip clubs and all this stuff, I'm like, it's not fitting with me. So I just kind of feel a little deceived, you know what I mean? But
Ronnie, maybe he was one of your clients.
No.
Maybe one of Ronnie's clients. I don't know. I don't know. What's wrong with going to strip clubs? What's the problem? All you can do is look. You can't touch.
No. I don't mind.
Pay extra for that.
Like, it's not a problem, but as long as you communicate that in the beginning. If you tell me in the beginning that I don't do that, then I'm gonna take your word for it. But
so it's the deceit that matters the most. If he came and said like, "Hey, I go to strip clubs and I like rip lines," that's cool. Maybe that's not cool.
I mean,
but do you think
in the beginning,
are you being honest? Like, really, if somebody's upfront with that, you're really cool about that, no matter like.
No. I definitely will not be cool with it. Like it's
okay. So you would disqualify a guy that would do that.
Because you're being honest, it just gives like a good, clear view of if I want this or if I don't want it. You know what I mean?
What's the issue with strip clubs? Because at first it was the lying, but now you're like, even if he told you the truth, you still would be like, nah.
Well, because
she got to convince you to tell the truth somehow, though, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it's just I'm more of a moral person, and I feel like women shouldn't degrade themselves like that. But everyone is welcome to do whatever they want, you know. I don't
Right, but
judge.
what's the problem with the guy doing it? Not necessarily like the
Mm,
industry itself. Like if a guy's like, yeah, I go to strip clubs, like why is that a red flag?
personally for me, because it kind of feels like they're looking for something elsewhere where it's just like, okay, so you know you can't touch, but you still getting titties and butts in your face, you know what I mean? But I guess guys want more physical than women do, which is, I mean, that's how it is, you know?
But you're in California. I've
Mhm.
seen your Instagram a little bit. Like I'm sure you've
Mhm.
been to a festival here or there before, and you
Yeah.
went to Burning
Yeah.
Man or whatever. I know what they wear. We all know what they wear. So what's
Skimpy
the
shit.
difference between a guy going to a festival where girls are in bikinis and thongs up their ass and then going to a strip club? If all he's doing is looking, what's the difference?
I think it's because it's a little bit more personal, right? Like you're getting lap dances, like you're paying for it, right?
Don't ask me. Maybe. I don't know. I don't go.
You're paying for it.
Yeah, maybe.
So
20
I
bucks a
think
dance, but yeah.
that's the difference, you know. 20 bucks a
What-
day.
what-
Money. Oh my
what's more
gosh. What
bothersome-
is
It's the
it?
going rate.
Ladies?
Is that cheap? Is inflation? Go ahead, Richard.
Question for you. Casey, what's more bothersome, that he's in the presence of almost naked to totally naked women,
Mhm.
or that he's giving money to other women?
I think it's the second one where it's just like
There it is.
he's very more of like, I want to save money, I want to do this, and then I find out he's going to a strip club. Like, you ain't trying to save money.
Okay, so it's the fact that he's giving them money. It's not so much that he's
Right.
around other women.
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah, I mean, it's like she's disgusted by the fact that he's giving away his resources to another woman. Just
Well,
like
he's
a man is
complaining about
disgusted
money
about the
with
fact
me.
if she's going and sleeping with other men, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Did he go by himself or he goes with his mates?
He didn't tell me, but it sounds like he's like that type of guy that would want to do it by himself just to like get more clout type of thing. You know what I mean?
How did you find out that he
Get
was
more
going to
clout.
strip clubs and giving them money?
So, I mean, I went into his Instagram and I found a couple DMs. So I DM'd one of the girls, and that's how I found out he went to the strip club. And it took him like 2 months for him to tell me that he actually went to the strip club. Like, I already knew. I was just waiting for him to tell me. And literally, he just told me today. I was like, fucking knew it.
So that was the issue of contention.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Yeah,
he
and
having
it's
sex
just
with the
lies.
strippers, or was it just money?
What was that?
Was he having sex with the strippers, or was he just giving them money for dances?
I mean, I don't think he's going to tell me if he had sex with them, but as far as I know, he probably just like gave money, you know?
Got it. Okay. What other questions we got, Mom?
Oh, okay. So you're
I'm
33,
reading.
you said?
Go ahead.
Yeah, 33.
Oh, go ahead, Ronnie. What do you got?
Yeah, Ronnie.
I'm just reading these comments finally that were in the chat. It's interesting
Lord.
what people
I would
assume.
stay clear from that.
They're like, your 4 kids are at home starving while you're sleeping around with all these multiple men. Like, that's not
That's loud.
that's
There's
not.
no need to pay attention to the comment section.
Yeah,
Especially during
It's like
the
she was nagging. That's why she must have got beat. It's like,
Oh my god.
Well,
So
you know, it's interesting that Moth brought that up. It's like, you know, you can't ask women why a guy resorts to physical violence, right? It's like,
well,
you just have to shut up and say he's a bad man, and you know, that's it. Like, is there? So here's an interesting question: is there any circumstance where physical violence is a suitable response to a woman?
if a woman is trying to hurt you, I could see where you could physically restrain her long enough to get away and get out of that situation to where you wouldn't
no.
have to hurt her, but you could, there are instances where you may have to be physical, like hold her and get out of that situation. If you got to hit
Why?
somebody,
Why do I have to do that? Like,
no, you don't
if
have
she can
to. I'm
haul off
saying,
on me. Why can't I haul off on her?
Well, I mean,
You should not be with a woman who is
Not a
hitting
joke.
you.
No,
it is. It's
Look,
hilarious.
both of
Why is
y'all
it
are
a
gonna
joke?
go.
It's not. Why
Like,
is
what
it
do you
funny?
mean? Like,
Nobody
you want to
should be
talk
hitting.
about how like biologically men are like hardwired to do all this stuff, but they're not like biologically stronger than women.
Okay.
Like you can't
So
beat
what?
on a woman. Like
Mhm.
just
Why
don't do
can't
that.
I?
That's.
Just
'Cause
because
your
I
I'm
mean, you
bigger and
could, but you
stronger?
shouldn't.
So should
Your mama
am
taught
I
you
never
better.
am I never allowed to physically dominate somebody just because they're weaker and smaller than me? What if they're a man? Can I hit a man though if he's weaker and smaller?
That's different, I think.
So it only
That's
why is
If
that
you're in a
different?
threatening situation, I don't see why
Why
you
is that
couldn't.
different?
Well,
What's
I
the
feel
difference
like
between a 5'2", 130-pound man and a 5'2", 130-pound woman? Is it just the fact that she's a woman?
Yes.
Because if it
I'm
is, just that's the answer. Okay, that's fine.
yes,
And
Yeah,
that's
that's
fine.
the
I'll grant you
yes.
that. I'll
Women,
grant you that. And here's the problem with that.
yeah.
When women don't fear violence and when the threat of violence, see, women are now growing up in a world where the threat of violence does not exist. You can get in a man's face. You can talk a bunch of shit. You can get all in his this and that. You can call him names.
no,
You
I
can
don't
do
think you should
things
do
to a
that.
man. Hold
No,
on.
yeah.
You can do things to a man that if a man did that, it'd be immediately a fight. It'd be on right there.
Mhm.
But just because women are this untouchable, protected class that are completely absolved out of violence, where is the incentive to behave correctly and act right?
Well, I
Because
think
the
that's
way
hard.
men behave correctly and act right is always because in any situation that we go out in, social or otherwise, the underlying threat of violence is always there. That's the threat that men deal with actually on a daily basis.
Mhm.
This idea that the average woman walking down the street is going to get attacked by some stranger and pulled into the bushes, statistically incredibly unlikely. It's far more likely for a man to have that happen to him than a woman. So that's why I think it's a fair question. Because we're allowed to ask a woman, if a woman cheats on a man, it's always, well, he pushed her into the arms of another man, or he must have done something, or he wasn't taking care of her, or he was doing X, Y, Z, ABC. But it's never, well, she got hit. She must have been running her mouth, or she must have struck at him first, or did something that sent him over the edge.
To trigger him.
So what's why the double standard?
I'm trying to answer this question because I don't feel like a woman should get in a man's face and be yelling at him, calling him a bitch, putting their fingers in, trying to push him or hit
Yes, but
him or do
Ronnie, that's not the
anything like
point.
that.
She can. Whether she should or should
Well,
not is irrelevant. She
what
can
I'm saying
without any
is,
penalty or
if
consequence.
I'm saying if that man is with that type of woman, he does not need to be with her. She is trying to incite violence in him, and they're probably both going to wind up going to jail and having really negative repercussions
No,
from an unhealthy,
actually,
toxic relationship.
Actually, in the vast majority of domestic violence cases, it's the man that's removed from the house, even when he's the victim. Even when he's the
Well,
one that's struck or punched, he's the one that gets removed out of the house. It's almost never the woman.
that's not what I experienced personally.
But I'm just going by statistics. I understand if that's something
Okay.
different for you, but statistically, in all
Did they
likelihood,
actually
the
remove
man is
you
going to be
from
the
their
one
house,
removed the
Ronnie?
house.
I had to go through legal. Yes, I had to deal with a lot going through divorce where, yes, at first I was removed. Yes.
Oh, what? So why did they take you out of those? Because that's
Well,
very uncommon.
because I hit him back and he had a mark on him.
There it is.
So we both got in trouble. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Angie, how you been? You're awfully
Are you
quiet
all right?
tonight.
How are you?
Good. You shared some really interesting stories last time you were on. You've got a unique relationship with your, I think it's boyfriend, is it?
Yeah, he's my
Yeah.
boyfriend.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you shared an interesting story about him needing to go to a meeting or a golf game or something, and it was early on a Saturday.
He plays golf on Saturdays. He does
Okay.
his jiu-jitsu Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he has golf lesson on Thursday, and then he's at work. And
you take care of him, right? You prepare his breakfast
Yeah.
and make sure he's sent off properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's everything going with all that? With that dynamic with your position clear cut and his position clear cut.
perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
I have never felt like he's going to leave me. I know that I'm doing everything that I could. I know that I'm useful to his life. Not that he can't live without me, but I'm harder to replace, like I make his life easy. He can focus at work. He can focus on his business. I get what I want, which is a good life, and he get what he needs, which is an easier life, because his heart is pretty hard, As you know, you guys probably know, like having a business is very stressful. And it's just not an easy task. You get problems at work when you get home. Sometimes you just don't even want to talk, or you don't want to interact. Like all you want to do is eat, and everyone shut the fuck up and go to bed, so I'm okay with that. So I think
So,
what works for me is I have a standard to myself. I
Mhm.
don't get fat, I don't get ugly, I look presentable, I've got food on the table, and I'm gonna make sure that my food is better than anything else. And then I treat his friends right. I don't choose the wrong crowd. Like I just have standards, so then I know that because he's a man with a lot of options, I know that it's easy for him to replace me. So I just make sure that I'm harder to replace, So I do
so why do
everything a
you?
little bit more than
Yeah. So
yeah.
you're not married and you don't have any of his children, right?
No, I don't.
So why do you feel so secure right now in the relationship? Because a lot of women would feel uneasy in that position, like they would feel discomfort having to rely on the guy. Because if it didn't work out, you'd be out on your own, right?
Yeah. Because I'm doing everything that people wouldn't do. I
You're
don't
doing
nag
what the
him.
others are unwilling to do.
Correct, yeah. Like I make rules to myself Monday to Friday. I don't really talk much or don't ask questions. I only greet him with a kiss, a hug, food on the table, and then if he wants to talk, he talks. If he doesn't, I'm not the type that would, like try to
Mhm.
get it out of him. I don't really ask. I mean, I ask about how's your day, but if he doesn't want to, sometimes you don't want to talk about work with your girlfriends, like you want to go home and just shut down, and I'll let him do that.
Where did you learn all this?
My mom is very good with that. I have a very good mom. And just being with him, and then I'm the top. I think I read a lot of books at the start, like with stereotypical in Australia. You can get lost in the idea that the society trying to sell to you. So I read a lot of books. When I have problems, I try to, instead of blaming it on the outside perspective, I try to ask myself, what can I do so then this doesn't happen again? And it just seems to work, and I accept that men are men and women are women. What I'm good at, I'm going to do. And what I'm not good at, I just got to be aware of it and try to contain it, I guess.
Yeah.
Angie, if I remember correctly, real quick, Rich, if I remember correctly, it wasn't always like this, though. You had bought into some of the feminist Kool-Aid, if I remember correctly, and I think Rich's book is one of the ones you found. I may be thinking of somebody else, but I thought maybe you had some reservations, and then you're like, oh, wow. Then you kind of picked it up, and you're like, I've been doing it all wrong, and that's really changed some things around. Is that your story?
No.
Okay,
No,
somebody
not
else.
really.
But either way, that's all fine, well, and good. I mean, I guess the other thing I was going to say really quick, because we don't have to keep belaboring the point, and I'd be curious, Angie, or anybody that was on the panel, or Rich, maybe even you too. Like, I'm looking through my notes with Shay. Shay's 37 years old, single, recently divorced after 2 years, but they were together for 6 before. So I think the things around, and if she's watching this, like, fine. Like I think she missed a really good opportunity. And I think it's sad when people take things so personally and they're talking from their experience where they can't think or see an outside viewpoint or somebody that may try to say something that's going to help them. Because my guess is that she was not the leavor, she was the leavee, she was divorced. She kept talking about finding new things and growing and learning to be better versions. So maybe she picked up some weirdo hobbies. I don't know, like being a sex therapist, or maybe she tried some things that this guy was just like, what the hell? This isn't what I signed up for. So therefore, like, I am no longer going to subscribe to this service. I signed up for this. I signed up for a woman that does X, Y, Z, ABC. And now you're turning around and you're changing on me. And then she's expecting somebody to stick around. And I don't think that's a really good or healthy attitude to go in. And that's why I don't even believe in this whole idea of better or worse sickness and health. It doesn't say like if you're doing the wedding vows, like, cool, whatever. Like, I'm not a big proponent for telling this, like, letting the state tell me what I can do with my, bedroom or children. But the idea that no matter what happens, you're supposed to unconditionally take this person to be your only wife, girl, whatever, no matter what they do, like, to me, that's slavery. I don't know why anybody would sign up for that. So I feel bad for her in a way. And if she ever watches this replay, I doubt that she will. But that's my contention over what happened. She was in the minority of women that was left and didn't do the leaving. She probably tried to do getting into some weird hobbies, and the guy wasn't here for it. And now she's, on the wrong side of 35, and she's arguing with us on our podcast and getting really emotional. So that's just what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's speculation, but what we know was talking to her, and she's very difficult to talk to. She doesn't listen. She gets off into the weeds and, doesn't stay on point. Like, the point that I was trying to make was, like, she's saying the reason why relationships are failing is because men aren't staying committed to women. And then she went and started to change that narrative and story. And I'm asking the question to get some clarity. And, it's fascinating when you talk to a gal like Angie, who's like, I just do what I want, to do for this man. I want to serve him. I want to look after him. I want to make sure he's happy. And I shut up when I know I need to shut up, and I don't make his life difficult. And it's like, when I asked the girls on the panel before KC came on, what do you think a man wants? We heard some things like peace, sex, stuff like that. But the main things really is like, you just can't disrespect a man. Like if you're disrespectful to him, that's pretty much like very, very close to the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just sex; it's the best sex you've ever given him. Like, it has to be better than anything else, right? Mind blowing, like, knock your socks off kind of sex, like no holds back. And then it's just being useful in his life. And we didn't hear that from the gals earlier too when we had Shay on. It's like, I don't think women, for the most part today, understand that being useful in a guy's life is so valuable. And I think that's what Angie gets, because she knows that, she said it, like, I want to make sure my food tastes better than anything else out there. Like, why would, like, the point that I made to Shay was men don't leave good women, right? And I get why Angie feels comfortable in a relationship, because a guy that's successful, that has options, that's out there putting a dent in the universe, has a gal like Angie that's taking care of him, getting up early on the weekend, feeding him, making sure he's looked after, he's happy when he comes home, his stomach's full, everything's aligned. Like, I think when women get that, and I understand that there's an absence, or there's somewhat of a vacuum of the kind of men that Angie's describing, that maybe some of the other women on the panel may or may not be with, or probably aren't with, or haven't been with yet. So you have to stand on your own 2 feet, and you can't rely on a man. I get it, right? Because there are a lot of weak men out there. So men absolutely need to step up and sort their shit out. But women at the same time, they need to learn when to shut the fuck up, be useful, cook a nice meal.
If only it was that simple.
It is. It's so simple.
It's not.
It really is that simple.
No,
It really
because
is.
because
so simple.
because I meet so many men who have good wives, just like what she explained. They will. I'm telling you, the men that I've met at the club who have told me themselves that they have a good wife at home. They'll show me a picture of how beautiful she is and pump her up and all this, and still come and give me their money. And she's at home cooking and cleaning, just being just as
He's not
good
leaving
housewife.
her for you.
No, not
There's
leaving
a
her.
difference between
No,
I
didn't say leaving. I didn't say leaving.
We're
but
not
I'm
talking about men stepping
out on. Okay. I'm not saying leave. They will stay with her. No, they'll stay with her, and they'll come to the strip club.
Before we get on to that point, though, I want to put a bow on this, because this really needs to be said. I think I want to just double down on what Rich was saying. Every moment that a woman spends trying to stand on her own 2 feet, or provide for herself, or have her own money, or pursue her own things, that's not making your relationship stronger. It's making your relationship weaker. And so what you think you're doing by insulating yourself, or giving yourself this insurance policy, well, in case things don't work out, I need to have all my ducks in a row, but you are almost ensuring that it won't work out because you would rather spend time lining the pockets of somebody else, like somebody that you work for, or you'd rather be caring for strangers in an office or doing spreadsheets with PowerPoint presentation that nobody cares about versus raising and taking care of children and helping perpetuate another solid generation of people. That's the issue. And then and women wonder why men don't want to deal with disagreeable or boss babe women that are highly driven and career focused, is because all of that takes priority over family and over the home life. No guy is going to want to sign up for that. It's just not what we're rooted to. And so that when women say, oh, well, I need to have a backup plan, I need to do all this, it's like every moment that you're not spending building your relationship and you're building elsewhere, you are contributing to the downfall. You are participating in the exact thing that you are trying to avoid. I don't think a lot of women understand that. And one more thing on peace, like, ladies, there's not a woman on this planet that brings me peace. Okay. Peace is silence. Y'all talk way too much. So it's not about peace. Like, it's more about being useful. Bring something useful. Do something for me that I need. Be valuable. Like, my peace is silence. It's solace. It's being alone. And there's no peace that comes along when it comes to that with women. So that's all I want to say. I want to double down on that point. But yeah, we can talk about the next. It sounds like we were kind of going down the road versus like stepping out versus leaving. So I don't know if we want to touch on that, Rich.
Actually, before we continue on to something else, I wanted to ask Kayla for some feedback, because I was kind of watching your facial expression, sort of, reacting to some of that.
I think she was laughing at me.
Yeah, I mean, I just like think of like successful men that are in whatever, like George Clooney and his wife. She's a pretty ambitious woman. They seem to have a great relationship. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Michelle Obama is incredibly ambitious.
That's a terrible example to use.
You mean
There's
Mike?
rumors that they're going to get
Mike's
divorced.
Horrible examples.
But those, we don't know.
Horrible examples. What's that gal's name that's married to George Clooney, the lawyer?
I don't know, but he was the biggest bachelor on the planet for like
children.
40 years.
She's a nobody. Her legacy is going to die off. How is that success? She's invisible.
Okay, that was a bad
I don't know
example.
these people. I don't know what they got going on.
Kayla, go ahead. Kayla, go ahead. It's okay. No, we're not trying to do a gotcha here. We're looking for answers.
Yeah, I just, I wanted to talk to you about that, because I mean, like, you had a look on your face and I was like, okay, so what's that about? Fill me in.
Yeah, I like firmly believe that like marriages and like unions work really well if there is like mutual respect, growth, and if both partners are ambitious. I don't think that like driven men, like ambitious men want like someone who's not like equally ambitious.
Right, but I mean, why can't you be ambitious in your own respective roles of expertise, right?
It takes a lot of ambition to raise a kid.
Like Angie is ambitious in the sense.
Well, what if I'm not interested in raising a kid right now? I want to
fair enough,
build a career for a few years before I have a child.
Got it. But I mean, Angie's ambitious in the sense that she's ambitious to support his purpose and his mission. So that
and that's fine for Angie, but it's not fine for me.
Well, I think that's where society and culture is going sideways today, is that we're telling women to go out there, climb corporate ladders, be ambitious, go out and get a job and stand on your own 2 feet. But what do you do for a living again?
I'm a spa coordinator.
So what does that mean? Like, what do you do at a spa?
I communicate with guests. I do the event, and then I'm apprentice, so I'm working on clients as well.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, if you didn't do that job, would that have a negative impact on the world?
Would it have a negative impact on the world if I didn't do the job of being a spa coordinator?
Right.
Probably not. but
Right.
it would have a negative impact on me because I love doing it.
Okay, but let me just stop you for a sec. Angie, what does your boyfriend do?
He owned a telecommunication business.
And what does the telecommunication business provide
Like
as far as a service?
he sells like phone system, and you know when you call a business and they go press 1, press 2, that's what he does. Like she sells those
Okay, so business to business type of solution.
yeah,
So if
B2B.
okay, so if that business folded tomorrow morning, would that cause problems?
Yeah, of course.
Probably, right? So I mean, like you see the difference here, right? Like being ambitious. I think that a woman's greatest calling, greatest ambition should be to find a top shelf man, serve him, and allow him to become the best version of himself.
Yeah.
Right. But like I think that, you know, the narrative that's been told to women that you should go out there and, you know, stand on your own 2 feet and like
I just don't understand why a woman wouldn't be able to do both of those things. I mean, I only work
why
like
it
3
just
or
doesn't
4
really
days
work
a
out very
week.
well.
Like if I were to have a child, I would be able to take care of a child.
Well, that's what
Working
you say
3
right
or 4
now, but
days a week?
what most women do is that they'll end up dropping the kids off at a daycare center to go to work to earn the money to pay the daycare center, while these nobodies that don't really give a shit about your child are supposedly looking after them, marching them through for nap time, for playground time, for poopy time, for snack time, where they feed them like cheese squares and all kinds of dog shit. Like, you see what I'm saying, though, right?
Well,
Like, this is usually the life that most children go through when moms decide to prioritize career, then motherhood, then career. It's like the system raises their kids.
that is a good point. And school my children. I chose to homeschool my children, and I started a private school. So had a time period where I owned my own school, ages 2 to 18. And that was my way of balancing out, okay, I do want to give something meaningful to the world by having a school and also be able to spend time with my own kids. So it served both purposes, and I could be driven. I had to get, certifications. I had to get a building. So I was able to have drive and also spend time with my kids as well. I do agree that you can have both, but that's not the normal. If the woman is working out, that's
I don't know any woman out there that's successfully done relationship, mom, wife, and career. I just haven't seen it. I mean, this weekend I'm in the British Virgin Islands
How do
right
you
now.
like define successful?
Well, let me just finish telling
and
the
how
story.
would you get to see them? Because they probably busy.
Yeah, well,
They're probably
Right.
not on social media.
Well, I'm about to give you an example, right? I'm down in the British Virgin Islands. It's a mastermind, yachting trip adventure around for 5 days, and there was 18 entrepreneurs, and some of the guys brought their gals with them. And there's an intro session that we do at the beginning. Who are you? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Basically a quick 3 to 5 minute sort of intro. And this one gal who was there with her guy, who was a videographer and a guy that helps build YouTube channels. Shout out to Matt. I don't know if he's watching right now, but his girl says, "Hey, I'm here to support my man. He's basically retired me. I'm his assistant this weekend. I'm going to run the mics and all this sort of stuff. And that's it. And that's why I'm here. That to me is a strong, successful relationship. And they have clear defined roles, and she sees his purpose as important and wants to support it. And again, ladies, like I understand, like there's a lot of weak, soft pussies out there. There's not a lot of strong men that women have the opportunity to want to like lean into and want to serve them. But I think at the same time, there's still a lot of guys out there that are looking for that. And I just don't see, the question was, what do you define as successful? Was it?
Yeah, successful like
what
relationship if a woman is like doing all of those things.
Yeah. So what I just described there, and what Angie has with her boyfriend, I think that's a better model of a successful relationship where both parties feel fulfillment in that model. I mean, look at Angie. I mean, she's here voluntarily. She's an attractive woman, objectively. She does what, she wants for this guy. She's happy with it. She feels secure. She doesn't feel unsecure. There's no, I need a ring, I need babies, I need whatever, a long list of demands. Nothing's changed in the last year since they've been together. Right. So like, you've got a model here on the show right now.
Rich, I'm curious, what do you think, or what's your opinion of a relationship like Alex and Layla Hermosi?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't know a ton about them personally, only just the stuff that I've seen them put out on social media. She's your strong, driven, boss bitch kind of gal, very masculine, even though she looks, I mean, if you look at a still photograph of her, you'd say, I think most guys would say that's an attractive woman. But when you kind of like see her move about and you see that big ass fucking tattoo down her back, the way that she talks with the deep voice and the movement sort of thing, she's very masculine. So that's not for me. Like, I wouldn't do that. And they seem to be prioritizing acquisitions, businesses, acquiring money. I think they've overtly stated they're not going to have children. So, it seems to be working right now. But again, it's like it's working right now sort of thing until it doesn't.
I think you're right about that on the children thing. I think I've heard them say that children, at least for the foreseeable future, is not on their radar.
Yeah, which I just don't understand. It's like, like how many more businesses do you need to acquire? How many more tens of millions or billions of dollars, do you need in your portfolio? Like, what's the end strategy with the whole ambition thing? You know what I'm saying?
Why are you guys so adamant about like women bearing children though?
Well, that's kind of your purpose.
That's what they're good at.
It's our purpose.
It's their best at.
Purpose. That's the only reason that women are put on the earth.
I don't think it's no.
That is not the only reason, but that is your purpose.
That's what you just said was their purpose.
Well, it's our purpose, but it's not.
You have an innate purpose to.
Well, some women can't have children, so what's their purpose?
Cool.
Well, a lot of women that can't have children have that problem because they wait too long in life. Had they tackled
no, some women have like PCOS and they can't conceive. Some people have like they just don't have viable like uteruses and they can't have children.
The population.
Sorry?
Very, very small percentage.
Yeah, it's a small percentage of that.
It's very small, right?
Infinitesimally small, extremely
so it's
small.
Like, the exception to the rule doesn't disprove the rule, right?
Well, I was just going to say, I had children. I had my first child at 19, and I had children during childbearing age. I breastfed, and a lot of the passions that I had for other things outside of children, like my art, basically took a back seat to me raising my children during that young age and nurturing them. But now that my kids are older, and they're not needing that same kind of nurturing, they can cook for themselves. I try to make them sit down and do stuff with me, and they're like, no, mama, we want to do it by ourselves. They're at a certain age. So now I can more pursue. So I have it both in that sense. I spend time with my kids, but I also pursue my own career as well.
I think that women are very good at the support system to men. But I think when women compete with men or try to become men, try to equalize themselves as men, they just become terrible versions of men.
100%.
And shitty masculine versions of women.
Well, that's what I was asking at the beginning of the show, where I was like, what are women better at than men? And I mean, we come back to things like caretaking and being nurturing. It's okay. So what you're best at is being a nurturer, and who is best to receive that trait? It's children, it's family. I mean, you could say like you care about clients or you care about whoever, but you're never going to care about a stranger the way you care about your own flesh and blood. You literally can't do it. You're not hardwired. You're unable to actually do it. You can't. Of course not. You can't beat biology. So, but that's why I asked. Now, if there were women out there that were having these great accomplishments in building things and creating infrastructure and keeping our waterways working or keeping the electric going or building great monuments or building things that helps pave the way and move society forward, more power to you. But there are none of them. I mean, every single woman of the top 10 or 15, it's probably 20 at this point, of the richest women in the world didn't get there through enterprise. They got there by either inheritance or divorce. So when I ask, like, what are women better at than men? It's like, in all the ways that matter and move society forward, nothing. In all the ways that help produce and protect children and raise the next generation, a lot of things, not everything, but the basic caretaking and the nurturing aspects. Yeah, women should be doing that. And that's all fine, well, and good. Nurses, admins, whatever. Like, you want, like, those teachers, even maybe so, even though if you put your kid in the public school system in 2025, that should be classified as child abuse. But that's what I'm getting at. So I don't understand not leaning into what you're good at and what you're best at, right? Like, why are we trying to fight biology? Why are we, like,
I feel
I
like
don't see it.
I'm not a feminist. I don't prescribe to like being like I don't agree with that. I had kids at a young age at 19 when I was able to have children healthy and breastfeed and focus that time. I did that. So now that I am over 30, I have my whole 40s, my 50s, all this life ahead of me where my kids are going to be grown. And so now, like, I have time that what am I passionate about outside of that man, which has now become a failed divorce. It's a failed marriage, it's a divorce.
And Kayla, this isn't a dunk on you. This is not a rail against Kayla and everything like that. What I'm saying though is I think this is the steady diet that a ton of women are fed nowadays. It's just this classic lie of you can have everything you want. No one is allowed to criticize or question any of your choices or your judgments whatsoever. And you just deserve it all just because you're a woman and you hear me roar, that kind of shit. Which,
Honestly,
That's what's told to men.
that was no, that
What do
was
you
a harsh
what? What do you
lesson.
mean?
No,
That's told
that
to
was
men
never.
too.
What's told
No,
to men?
Not at
That you
all.
should
Not
have
at
everything
all.
you want, right when you want it, how you
No.
want
Which
it.
men are you talking
I'm
about?
man, hear me roar.
no.
See what
No.
you're doing. See, the difference is this is what a lot of women do. Like, when you're talking about men, you're only talking about the men that you see. The vast majority of men are invisible to you. So if you're talking about the top 5%, top 10% of men, yeah, that's fine, well and good. But for women, it's like it's the bottom 90. Like, almost every woman out there is being told, don't give it to a man too early, wait to have kids, go establish yourself because men are trash and they're going to leave you, when it's not really the case. When the men that are actually doing these things or have the option, they're the very, very small percentage of men. So women are being taught to fear men and therefore be independent. But the more independent they become, the less chance they'll actually find a man they actually want. It's all
I can
backwards.
see that.
So
I can actually
that's
see that.
ultimately the problem, is like, that's what's being fed to these women every day. And look, you want to go to work, go to work. You want to have kids, go have kids. But I won't lie and say you can absolutely have it all and max out your character in every area and have the most fulfilling relationship of all time, the best relationship with your kids you'll ever have, and be extremely fulfilled financially and personally, free in your entrepreneurship or your corporate endeavors. It just doesn't exist.
This is what's really interesting about these shows when we have these conversations, right? It's like the whole concept was really, hey, let's get some gals together, sort of chop it up, answer some questions, see what we can do to be useful. And we don't usually get a lot of questions like, hey guys, help me out with this. This is what I'm kind of stuck on. This is a situation that happened in my relationship or my past relationship. What would you have done? We don't get a lot of curiosity, right? So it's like when we start sort of talking and asking questions to sort of get the ball rolling with Shay, I think was her name. It's like, shit, man. Like, no wonder.
Yeah.
Single.
Surprise.
Like, can't even sit there and have a conversation or get slightly challenged without having a hissy fit and running off the show, right? It's like, and culture.
And I feel bad for kicking her out. Like, I didn't want to do that because I think there was something there, but it is what it is.
I could totally vouch for that. And honestly, I feel like I've grown a lot because I used to be very triggered. Like, when we would have conversations or even with my family, when someone would say something that I didn't like, I would just leave instead of just confronting, you know. But I think it does take a lot of discipline and emotional maturity for you to just, like how you guys say, like, just sometimes we just have to shut the fuck up. And a mí me costó, like it took me so long to understand that, where it's just like sometimes you don't need to rile things up more than they already are. Just bring the peace and chill, you know?
What questions do you have for us, for any of the ladies?
Let's
How
see.
about that?
Well, I could see that you guys are very base, so I like that. In the beginning of my relationship, I guess I was very jealous. So he was a business owner and I was a singer, so I would just be performing. He had his thing, I had my thing. We meshed really well together, I think. But then it was just like my jealousy that took over. So I can say that is something I want to work on. But I guess that is my question. Like, how, one, I'm not going to control him. I don't want to control him. It's more of like, how can I find peace in a relationship when I know, like, for example, he's already lying, right? He's already doing his thing. How can I compliment someone that is not being honest?
What are you looking for when you say peace? Like, what do you mean by peace?
Well, I guess I'm not trying to stir the pot, you know, like just happiness, you know, like instead of focusing on problems, focus on growth and focus on new projects, focus on,
Yeah.
you know,
So,
like positive
I mean,
things.
this is something that I've noticed with a lot of women. Like a lot of women that I've dated in my life have been very jealous. And like the story that you tell where you break into his Instagram and message a random girl and like
Yeah. That's bad.
if you go looking for dirt, like if you go
You're
digging,
gonna find it.
you're gonna find dirt, right? So it's like I think the first thing that women have to understand is that if he's chosen you, okay, like you said to the guy, hey, you know, what are we? Where's this going? I really dig your vibe. I don't want to share you, sort of thing. Like if you said, okay, I'm going to invite you into my life. I'm going to take you out on dates. We're going to travel and we're going to do cool shit together and hang out with family, sort of thing. He's basically overtly, without spelling the words out, said, you're my girl. Okay. Without saying it every fucking day. So why would you go and you know, don't get me wrong here, a little bit of discomfort in a relation, a little bit of anxiety, it's called competition anxiety, is good for you. Because if you didn't feel anxious about the guy, you wouldn't want to be with him, right? Like if you didn't think other girls wanted to be with him, you'd want nothing to do with the fucking guy, right? Am I right?
100%.
You have to know that other women want him and that other men kind of want to be him, sort of thing.
Right. Same with girls. Yeah. I'm sure
And
you feel the same way.
well, it's not the same with girls. I'll get to that in a second. But
Really?
if you see a guy that other women don't look at, you know, if he walks into a room, he walks into a restaurant, there's a social event, there's other women around, and they don't look at him. They don't give him the time of day. They don't glance at him. They don't check him out. They don't look at his ass or his arms or some shit like that. You're gonna be like, I'm with the loser.
I'm with the loser.
No, you will. I mean, you're not going to say it, but that's where you typically, you know, will arrive at. If other men are disrespectful to him, then you will be turned off by this guy. So you have to understand that you have to have some anxiety about his position with you. Now, what's the worst that can happen? He's going to cheat on you, or he's going to leave you, or like, what's the worst? Like, what's the worst thing that's going on in your mind here? He's going to impregnate another woman.
Cheating. No, to me, it's cheating.
Cheating, and define why cheating is so scary for you. Like why you need to monitor his behavior, why you need to break into his Instagram to message other girls. Like what about cheating bothers you?
I guess it's, well, it makes you think, right? Well, as a woman, you're like, okay, he's cheating on me because There's something that I'm not doing, and he's trying to look for it in someone else.
So in someone else.
And
so,
that's insecurity, which is no bueno. You know what I
got it.
mean?
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like, because women are solipsistic, you can't see past your own noses. So what you use is your own logic in your head that you use to rationalize when you cheat, right? Like when a woman cheats on a guy, she's done, right? Like she's starting to fall for the guy.
Yeah.
She's already fallen for the guy. She's got an emotional connection. He's a better guy than the one that she's with.
And for guys, it's like cold doom. I could do one girl, and then the next day,
Ooh,
no.
okay, stop there, right? So men don't cheat the same way that women cheat. When women cheat, they betray a man. Okay, when a man cheats, it's just cheating. For a lot of guys,
what does that mean? Like, it's
it's just cheating. Like,
it's like an action, right? Like it's not. It doesn't carry any emotion. It's just like I'm walking to the corner of the street.
Okay, because what ends up happening, Casey, is that when you find a guy that steps out on you, when you find out, you don't really care that he had sex. You don't care about that. What you want to know is what? Did you love her? Am I right? So it's not so much about the sex. But for guys, it's just the sex. A lot of the times, if they step out, it's just sexual intimacy or exercise or whatever you want to call it. And then they just forget about like they can legitimately have sex with a girl and completely forget about her. And it's like, whatever, just some bimbo, right? But women, on the other hand, they can't do that. So you're using the same logic that you utilize in your own life. If you step out on a past relationship, or if you have, or if one of your friends have, it's not the same thing. So I think that one of the things that women really get hung up on, that's just such a waste of your mental bandwidth, is monitoring his fucking dick all the time. Like, doesn't that get exhausting? Doesn't it get exhausting?
It's so exhausting. I did it for a while, and I was just like, I'm wasting so much time. I could be working right now, you know, but
and it's not attractive to the guy either, right? I mean, a lot of these guys are not even doing anything, and then they're getting accused, or there's covert drops about, you know, your suspicion of him. And it's, you know, for guys at the same time, it's like, well, if she's going to accuse or use covert ways of suggesting that I might as well do it. I might as well do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like all this energy that women waste on suspicions will always be there, and it's natural because, I mean, it's fucked up because you want the guy to cheat, because you want a guy that can cheat, you just don't want him to cheat.
Right.
Can I just also add to it, like for me, jealousy could be a really good fuel for you. I think confidence in a relationship is earned, not given. So like if you do it enough and you know that you're good enough for him in a way that you don't, why would you be jealous? Like I would go, if you want to step out or like you want to leave me, good luck. You know, I'm not saying that I'm amazing, but like all I'm saying is like I have done all these things and I know a lot of women, not that like there's no one like me, but it will be quite hard to find someone who's committed as me.
I have a question, Angie.
So yeah,
I have a question. Have you ever felt insecure in your relationship in any way, or maybe doubt it a little bit?
At the start, I think it's a phase where you have to go through until you build that relationship. There's like, you gotta be realistic, like, you know, from the start to the end. You can't just compare the first year to the 7th year or the first year to the 8th year. Like, it's a very different dynamic. I think at the start, like the first 2 years, if a guy is too quick with you or like he's committed to you straight away, I wouldn't trust him. Because for me, like, yeah, nah. And if a guy is too nice, it's fake, like 100%. Because
That's
he's not
love
real,
bombing.
you know? So like for me, like I think the slower they are with you, the better. Because if like you're like, I consider myself, I'm not special. If he can fall in love quickly with me, he will fall in love with someone else quickly. But if they are hard to commit from the start, they will be careful and they know what they're doing and they choose wisely. Meaning that like, you know, you're 1 in 10 or like you're one in 5 or like, which is a little bit harder to replace. So then it makes you more secure. But if a guy is too fast, more than likely he's going to do the same exactly to you.
Yeah.
So like if he's overly romantic, I'm not into that either, because to me he's too emotional. Like emotional guy doesn't think logically, meaning it's easy for him to step out emotionally. So I'm not into that either. So like
How did you meet your baby?
I actually Tinder.
What?
Online. Yeah, online
No
dating.
way.
Like I read Richard's book and I thought that was really relevant.
Mhm.
Hire slowly, fire quickly. I will give opportunity, but then I don't. Doesn't mean that you have to sleep with them. Like, but like you give the chance and then you speak to them, and then really you can see what kind of person they are. But
Yeah,
then
you
you
could
got to
smell
know when the red flags appear. You have to be firm enough and go, hey, it's not gonna work because I'm looking for someone long term. I'm not looking for
temporary.
Yeah. And I think a lot of guys are there to begin with just for sex, just because they want to have sex with you doesn't mean they want to be with you. And like you gotta it's very important for women to know, like because a lot of women go like, oh yeah, but a lot of people want to be with me. Not really, because they're not committing to you. Like they want to have sex with you, they're probably going to keep you around for convenience, but doesn't mean that they want to be committed to you or thinking for you, to be with you in the future. So
You
just
should
I think just
be looking at deal breakers from the perspective of real deal breakers. Like a
What do you
guy
mean?
that goes to a strip bar,
Ugh.
I don't know why he would do it, but a guy that goes to a strip bar and he's just having drinks, maybe drinks with his friends or something like that, whatever, right? I think that you should look at deal breakers from the perspective of, wait, okay, hold on a second. If this guy's my boyfriend and I've asked him to commit to me, and we were just at my family's last weekend and we went on vacation for 2 weeks last summer, sort of thing, and now I have like this girl knocking on my door saying that she's pregnant with my boyfriend's child. What the fuck is that? That's a deal breaker. I don't think that. See, the problem that a lot of women have is they make mountains out of molehills because they think that there's always some other shit just around the corner that's better than what they got. And no guy's perfect and no woman's perfect. But at the same time, you shouldn't be like disqualifying guy, especially if he's a top shelf guy. I mean, you talk about a guy that's owning a business here, right? He's an entrepreneur, successful business.
Yeah.
Very small percentage of the population. Who fucking cares if he goes to the strip joint? Like, is it really a deal breaker?
Yeah.
Speaking of the strip club, I'm finna have to go.
I'm sorry,
Ronnie's
bro.
gotta roll.
I've never been to one. Okay, now I want to go.
Ronnie, thank you.
Like, what's this
God
about?
damn.
Let me
Oh,
go.
okay. This is what she was upset about. She was upset that he didn't take her with him. That's what.
Yeah.
You wanted to go?
Hold on, let Ronnie do her sign
If
off.
he brought her, they'd still be together.
Now
I just wanted to thank y'all for having me. I do have to get to the strip club
Thank you,
because it's
Ronnie.
getting stripper hour.
It's that time.
Yeah, it's about
Thank you,
that
Ronnie.
time. And they were asking me about my book in the comments. I actually have an audio book and I have a print version, but right now I'm figuring out how I actually want to publish that. So it's wrote, but it's not published. But you can find all my stuff on Instagram, starring_Ronnie Gold. And I have 3 movies on Tubi and Amazon, a TV show. One of the movies is called The $1 Million 304. One is called She Get the Money. And one is called The Vixen and the Villain. My TV show is the Starring Ronnie Gold Show, where I show behind the scenes of me making music.
Thanks, Ronnie.
You right now, mommy.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Okay. All right.
Take care.
That was a solid sign off, man. She covered every angle from that.
She did. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was a hell of a plug. Yeah.
Let me plug.
Hilarious.
Kayla, you got anything for us before we wrap up? You got any questions?
No.
Cool.
Pretty tired.
Well,
Well, you passing it on to me?
yeah, I'll pass it on to you, man. I'm ready.
No, I think we're ready to wrap. I think we're good.
Good. Shut her down.
Yep.
Cool. Let's here, ladies, we're gonna pull you backstage. First of all, we'll say thank you, ladies. You're all welcome back. Casey, we wish we got a little more time with you, but understand things happen. Angie, welcome back. It's good to see you. Kayla, you're a great sport. You're more than happy. You're more than welcome to come back again if you like. And Shay can come back too if she can, keep the temper tantrum to a minimum. But we're going to pull you out now. We're going to read through some of these super chats, and then we're going to sign off. So you can hang out to the end, or you guys can just exit the studio backstage. But stay in touch with Spencer. We are always looking for guests every single Tuesday. And if you're interested in coming back to another show, just let us know. We appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you.
Just going to pull everybody out here. CKC. All right, let's rip through some of these. Let's get through supers. Who do we have here? Women are humans with dreams. Here we go. I love this one. I saw this come in. Women are humans with dreams with the need for self-actualization other than children. I've come to understand it now only at 30. I don't know if this is a man or a woman. Yeah, your dreams aren't that important. I think that's what a lot of people need to realize. Like, your dreams really aren't that important. And it's, you know, everybody's got dreams, but very few people are going to actually reach them or do the work that it takes to get there. So it's a lot easier to have a kid than reach your dreams, in my opinion. So just do that.
I've heard from so many women over the years now that talk about the comparison between careers and being a mother and a wife, and they
Then
all
you come
find
close.
way more fulfillment in the latter than the former.
Yeah,
I
never met one that didn't.
Yeah, like they think they'll find it, and trust me, like I know a lot of very successful women, entrepreneurs, lawyers, accountants, doctors, and you aren't built for it. You're just not. It's a lot of work. It's stressful. It takes a toll on you. And, you know, most of these women have found much more fulfillment and happiness in the arms of a man and serving his purpose and taking care of his kids in his house. But you know, society, culture, music, media, fucking Hollywood, everything will keep telling you self-actualization. Go out and, you know, be a spa manager or a nail technician.
Find yourself. That's the big one. That's the big one we got last week, was find yourself. That's
find yourself.
Find yourself.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right, Saint 121 Pogon. Relationships are most successful when there's a common understanding and direction in life. Both genders need to choose better and put in the effort. There's a huge deficit for good men and good women. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. If the understanding is, you know, I run the show and you're the passenger and you're along for the ride and you support that mission, or you're hitting the bricks. I mean, that's the common understanding. It doesn't get more simple than that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be going in two different directions, but also if you're going in the wrong direction, that's not going to work either.
The one thing I wanted to ask Kayla that we didn't get around to, but like, it's like, okay, well, so 70-30, but then how do decisions get made? Is that 50-50, or does he get to make 70%? If he's bringing in 70% of the income, does he get to make only 70% of the decisions? But, you know, if she comes back.
Usually what it is with the gals is when they say they want an equal relationship, they want equal decision-making.
Decision-making, not contribution.
Decisions, but they want him to pay for most of the shit, which really doesn't add up.
Yeah, I would agree on that.
Yeah.
The next one is...
most interesting part I found there was just asking her, okay, so if the guy's broke, would you still be with him? And her immediate answer is just, I wouldn't even look at him.
Yeah.
Here's another one. The thing is that women get their mental health effed up by guys that don't leave. Instead, then the woman just chooses to leave for the sake of her peace.
Well, I mean, why did you get involved with a loser to begin with?
Yeah. Again, it goes back to the age-old question. Do women have agency, and do they have the ability to make their own choices, or do they not?
See, this is why
one of two things.
This is why fathers and older brothers played a significant role in finding a husband for their daughters or sisters. But they don't do that anymore. And it's because women want to do it themselves now. And that experiment has been playing out for decades now, and it's not working. I think that if women were to assume, I mean, if they don't want to ask their father for his feedback, at least assume the role of the father's thinking, you know, when you're vetting a guy for commitment, which is all you should be doing, is vetting a guy for commitment, not running around sleeping with a bunch of guys for fun.
It's that simple. This guy couldn't pay one more cent to have us read it out in the middle of the show. How is Shay so cray-cray? I would like an answer, please. What medication did she skip to? Yeah, kind of glad we didn't read that out loud. She probably would have thrown the freaking laptop through the window. But I thought I did it okay. Like, that's my speculation. That's what I think happened. I tend to be pretty good at this kind of stuff. That's my guess. Because a couple times she did slip up, and she said, how did a guy leave me, or like in my situation, you could tell that she was speaking from experience. And it's like, and if she could just keep a lid on it for 5 seconds, maybe she could. I told her, I was like, if you're talking, you're not listening. Right. And so I'm sure there was a time where this guy is trying to talk to her and lay things out and explain to her what's going on. And she can't shut up for 5 seconds because she's so concerned with getting a word in that she can't even hear the guy. It's tough, man.
I mean, that's like par for the course with the boss girl mentality, is they want to fucking argue with you. They think that you want the challenge. It's like, bitch, no.
And it's like her whole thing, her her controversial opinion, or she was talking about like dating is complicated because of like porn and it creates unrealistic expectations and all that. And it's like, maybe you just aren't fun to be around, or maybe the guy just got tired of you interrupting all the time. I don't know. Like, I mean, look, they were together for, I think she said they were divorced together for 2 years, but together for 6. So, I mean, she definitely dated in her 20s if she didn't marry this guy until, or get to get this guy until 29. So there's a track record, there's a history there that we didn't get to, but that's not surprising. Ask Kayla. Yeah, guys, if you guys want us to read these during the live show when the women are on, you got to put in at least $20. Ask Kayla, would you quit your job for 6 years to raise your kids up until school age? I don't think Kayla has the farsight to have any idea what the future holds for her. I don't think she's able to have this idea that she'll love her kids, or that it's just one of the things, you just don't know what you don't know. And the worst thing that she can do is wait until she's 34 or whatever age she said to have them. And then she's in for a rude awakening. And then she's really hit with the reality of what happens when, you hit that fertility wall. So, good for her for actually reconsidering once she got married to have kids, because it sounds like she didn't want to at all. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. I can't imagine being married to a woman who doesn't look at me and is like, when are you going to put a baby in me? I want to have your kids like tomorrow. What the hell are you waiting on? Like, the fact that she doesn't want that, how? All right. And the last thing, this guy, is Ronnie going to do some spinning for us or what? Yeah, man. Look, if nothing else, Ronnie she took it and she gave it right back, and she defended her position. She didn't get mad. Like, I really came at her early, and she did what very few women do on the show, which is to say, yeah, I chose poorly and I screwed up and I made the mistake. And then eventually, after we got around the whole DV stuff, it was, I needed to look internally and figure out what the problem was, or why I do this and why I did that. So,
did you ever see that Bill Burr bit where he talks about hitting a woman?
Yeah, of course. Like, well, there's a Daniel Tosh bit too. Yeah. It's like,
I don't remember
like,
these.
Really?
There's plenty
of. There's no scenario where you
not
deserve
one.
a slap.
It's like, what if you come home, she's drowned 2 of your kids, she's about to dunk the third one, are you allowed to run over and pop her then? Like, obviously, but that's the thing. It's like, why can't we ask these questions?
Like, women never do stupid shit to piss off a guy to that point. Come on,
ever, right? Like, I ironed his shirt. I'm like, I'm sure it was a little more than that. But again, that's the double standard in the world we live in. So that does it for supers, guys. We're gonna wrap on that. I'm looking to see if there's anything else in the chats, this and that. But we'll be back next week, same time, same place. Rich, you're back stateside soon, right? You come back tomorrow or the next day or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be back probably by Thursday. It looks like midnight Wednesday. It's going to be a shitty day.
All right.
Tomorrow. Travel.
Good stuff. I'm on a plane tomorrow, so no office hours. We'll be back for Chopping It Up Monday, Ladies Night Tuesday, and then back to a regular schedule for next week. So, guys, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. School of Unplugging is always open for new members, and we're looking to add some stuff in there for you guys, and it's better than it's ever been. So, if you're interested in that, you know where to find it. But with that, we'll let me go ahead and roll the outro, and we'll get out of here.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit Get a Free Quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links